saints come marching in, oh Lord, I want to be in that number. When the saints come marching in, oh when the saints come marching in, oh when the saints come marching in, oh Lord, I want to be in that number. When the saints come marching in, we are traveling in the footsteps of those who have gone before, but we'll all be reunited on a new and sunlit shore. Oh, when the saints come marching in, oh, when the saints come marching in, oh Lord, I want to be in that number. When the saints come marching in. Some days in this world of trouble, He's the only one we need. But I'm waiting for that morning when the new world is revealed. Oh, when the saints come marching in, oh, when the saints come marching in, oh Lord, I want to be in that number. When the saints come marching in, oh, when the saints come marching in, oh, when the saints come marching in, oh Lord, I want.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to AFL NT's coverage of the 22-23 TIO NTFL final series here from TIO Stadium on Larrakia Country. We're here tonight for preliminary final action of the TIO NTFL Men's Premier League competition. Tonight, Southern Districts and St Mary's. These are great TIO NTFL rivals through the 90s and the early 2000s. They meet in another cutthroat Men's Premier League final here tonight at TIO. The form guide points to another tough physical encounter with both sides boasting wins over their rivals this season, and Southern Districts, of course, won the minor premierships, and defending Premier St Mary's finished third at the end of the home and away season. So tonight should be a beauty. Good evening, my name is Nick Dangs. My commentary partners this evening, Ashley Manakaris and Will Czar. Good evening, guys. Ash and Will, how are you?
Yeah, good evening to you.
Preliminary final should be a great game tonight. Ash, what do you expect out of today?
Well, look, both sides have one thing in common as far as I'm concerned, Nick, and that is they've both been dismantled by Waratahs in consecutive weeks. So it'd be interesting to see how they bounce back. Southern Districts, of course, were on the receiving end of that last week, and 2 weeks before that, St Mary's copped it, which is why they had to go the path. Both sides have had to go that path. Look, I'm expecting an interesting contest. Southern Districts have their problem from the point of view that we've all agreed off air that they will find it difficult to score goals. Having said that, though, Saints, for whatever reason, have had a number of their midfielders go missing for a couple of weeks. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a much tighter contest than people think.
And Will, good evening, mate. What are you expecting out of tonight's game?
Yeah, good evening, gentlemen. Yeah, great to be here. I think it'll be a pretty tight game. I think both clashes between these two sides have been within about 10 points. I think one might have been 3 points even, the other maybe 11 points. So, yeah, relatively close contest. I think if that's anything to point to, we're set for a great night. But for me, I just think St Mary's have got a few of their gun players hitting their best form at the right time of year. In particular, look at Dylan Lant and Kieran Parnell are the two for me who are doing it. But Matty Green, he was just about best on ground last week as well in their elimination final win, or their semi-final win, I should say. And Nick Yarran as well, he was a star as well.
So last week, St Mary's defeated the Tigers by 35 points. Waratah were outstanding. They defeated Southern Districts by 56 points. Southern Districts did look a bit rusty. They've had a couple of weeks off and a couple of easy games leading into finals. But traditionally here in the top end, finals mean St Mary's. They just tend to be there every year or thereabouts. They finished, of course, Southern Districts finished the home and away season as minor premiers. Only 2 losses, and one of those was against St Mary's. And St Mary's have been the highest scoring team this season, averaging 87 points per game. Southern Districts averaging around 79 points per game. So as you said, a bit of firepower missing from Southern Districts, but they were minor premiers, Ash.
Yeah, they were, but they come into this game with out Jai Bolton again, and of course Bolton is a Sandover medalist, but word around the Rural Bush Telegraph is that Claremont won't let Bolton go unless Districts make the grand final. But I've just been looking down their team sheet there, Nick, and just putting asterisks next to some of the players that I think can probably be the game breakers here. And I've actually put asterisks next to 10 players' names. Dean Staunton comes back into the side following his suspension last week. Sorry for having to miss that game. But Matty Dennis, to me, is the one that's probably going to hold the key. He had a good duel with Arnold Kirby last week from Waratahs, and Kirby, to his credit, just kept Dennis in check, and he only had a +1 game from the point of view that Dennis was only marginally in front of Kirby, whereas St Mary's had it last week pretty easy in that ruck contest, and they were +14 by the end of the game. So I don't think we're going to see that today. I think Dennis is going to be a bit of a key. Sam Dunstan, for me, is someone that really needs to lift his game. He's a full forward for Southern Districts, and he's one that really needs to be up, presenting himself, but more importantly, taking the opportunities when they're given to him. Now, I heard through the Same Bush Telegraph in regards to Jai Bolton that we may see young Thomas Bousted, who is one of the youngsters, juniors, that's come through the Southern Districts lineup, actually with a tagging role on Dylan Lant tonight. Yep. So that's going to be an interesting contest from the point of view that Bousted's got a bit of pace about him and is actually a pretty good tackler. So we'll see how that unfolds. And, Jake McQueen had a bit of an elbow injury early. Jack Sexton was very good. Driscoll was probably had a bit of a forgettable game last week in defence, and as did Bowden. So all of those players, I think, will lift. So, as Will says, there's only been roughly 10 points between the sides during the season. I think we're going to see that today.
We're about to have the toss now as we watch this on the screen. A couple of earlier games today. The Women's Premier League, Pint took the lead for the first time in the 14th minute mark of the final quarter to defeat St Mary's by 6 points. They go to meet Waratah in next week's grand final. And looks like the toss has been won by Southern Districts. They're going to kick to the airport end, which is the way the wind is going. At the moment, expecting a clear night. There's no real clouds around to speak of. It's currently 30 degrees. Game time around about 28 degrees on a beautiful night here in the top end. Also, some other games tonight. The Men's Premier League Reserves game. They also came from behind, which I believe was an absolute beauty. To beat the Tigers by 3 points. They'll meet Banks in the grand final. And then Div 1, Jabiru defeated Banks by 21 points. So they'll take on Tracy Village in Div 1 grand final next week. A couple of good games earlier on today.
Yeah, the Women's Premier League game that we just witnessed then was also Pints versus St Mary's, and Pints came from behind to win that game at one stage. I think St Mary's would double Pints' score at 37-18, and it looked like the 3 goals that they needed to score was going to be a challenge. In the Men's Premier League Reserves, Waratahs have come from about 15 or 18 points down with about 4 minutes to go, and to get over the line there, that was another cracking game. The interesting thing, gentlemen, that I want to point out is those teams ran home to that right-hand side of the screen. So they ran home to the airport end to score those goals. So, if you're into that sort of superstition, then perhaps the final quarter could prove to be a bit closer than we think. Will, can I just ask you about the Saints side? You mentioned a few of those names there before, but they have been you talked about Matty Green and you talked about Dylan Lant and Kieran Parnell. They're the ones that are going to lead the way tonight. But then some of the others that have really sort of stepped in, like Jellyman Turner and Jacob Long and Hillier, they're the ones that have got to step up tonight. And how is Grenfell going to go against Matty Dennis? Yeah,
it'll be a really big question to see how Dennis goes. And Braxton Matt has been playing second fiddle in the ruck for them as well. He's been doing okay, and I think St Mary's have a pretty good routine in terms of racking around the ground as well. Oborn will tend to do it in the back line and Calder when it's deep forward, so they don't wear them out too much. But Dennis, if he gets on his game, he could absolutely monster them. And I think it was a few weeks ago, might have been before the finals, but there was a game where he absolutely dominated. I think it was that final round against Darwin Buffaloes, and just really took the game, took the ball home with him.
Well, Oborn's interesting because they start him up back generally, and then they move him forward if they need to get a spark, and that's paid off handsomely at different times. And I'm just looking there. It looks like Grenfell will start in the middle, but it's Smithson that's gone up forward with Jack Lant just standing there, and Calder's gone into the square. So that's an interesting start in the middle there.
Oborn starting at centre half forward as well.
And is that Parnell's in the midfield as well? He's starting on Jake McQueen.
Yeah, so it looks like there's a tagging role, and McQueen probably flies under the radar a bit as one of the unsung heroes of that Southern Districts lineup.
As we get underway, umpire Tim Biddlescombe with a fantastic bounce. Grenfell just snaps it out of the air from Dennis. Puts it on the boot, sends it up to centre half forward. Flying over the top there from St Mary's was Auburn, the man himself. We were just talking about it.
Looks like he's got new boots on tonight, and present during the week.
New hair as well. Auburn's gone from blonde to dark. He kicks it forward, wrapped up at the back there. They can't seem to get clear. It's tried to be punched away, though, by Driscoll. Driscoll's went to that right forward pocket, and the ball has been found. It's going to be in the hands of Paredes. Paredes will play on quickly, earned himself a free kick, inside out, and sends it to the right.
Would have been a great start if he could have slotted that one through to our preliminary final. Just to behind. Bring it back in now. Southern Districts and looking for McQueen. Gets a mark. Parnell with him all the way already, so we'll keep an eye on that matchup. He goes further afield now looking for Sexton. Turned over though, and Jellyman turned with a good intercept. He'll roll around looking deep for Calder in the pocket. Calder gets to front position. Ball just goes through his hands, spills over the back. We'll have a boundary throw in that forward pocket down there. Michael Long at centre end.
Yeah, I think the... from a matchup point of view, I think Staunton's going to be running with Dylan Lant. Yeah, he is. And they're both shoulder to shoulder. And I see that Parnell has now taken himself to Kane Stevens. Ball in. Dennis just punches it forward. Fijo couldn't get clean hands. Picked up there, I thought, by Yaron. Yaron again off the ground. I think he's put that through.
What a goal that was from Nicky Aaron on his side. He's just had two cracks at it. First one's gone into his defender. Second one's dribbled through. What a goal to start this final.
Channeling a little bit of World Cup soccer there, Nick.
Nicholas Yaron gets the first one. The umpire's number 21, Callum Loney from Canberra. Mark Noonan, of course, one of the three field umpires in NTFL history, to umpire 250 plus Premier League games, also 9 grand finals. And Tim Bitterscombe, who took the first bounce. Recently, this is from the Waffle. It's the second season here in the top end. Clear night, as I said, here in the top end, and St Mary's scoring first. They're 7 points to 0. Hasn't gone forward yet for Southern Districts as we get back into the ruck.
Cracking start there from Nicky Yaron.
Back in the middle now. Dennis, he went up early, got the hit out down. Looks like he's trying to crumb it himself. Just bounces it forward off his shins, gets a handball up and away. Picked up now by Southern Districts and a handball forward. Went through Dennis's arms. McQueen, he gets a handball off now with Staunton. He launches it to full forward. There's Dunstan just working his body. Couldn't take the mark, and there's Green. Gets a handball away as he's tackled. Just got boot to ball. Umpire calls play on, and Sexton takes it over the boundary line.
He was lucky there to get boot for ball. He would have gone for dropping the ball there, but he just managed to get a little bit of toe on it. Umpire in great position to see it.
I'll just watch this on replay here. Dunstan's got to hold these, with all due respect to Sam Dunstan. I mean, that just went straight through his fingers. And there's the grab tackle. Back in the middle now, taken out of the air by Grenfell. He has it dispossessed. Gets time to get it back up. Spinning out of trouble was Brock Lant. Straight into trouble, though. Wrapped up. The ball is going to be held up, and umpire Bitterscombe says, give it to me.
You're right, Ash. He's got to take those marks earlier in the game, because we know here at TIO later on tonight it's going to get a bit slippery, those balls. So earlier in the match, you've got to take those marks.
Oh, Grenfell just up against Mazzini, but he took him out, and Grenfell just gets it. There's Bowden with his first real possession. He sort of gets it, taps it forward, let go. Lance driven into the ground, let go. Play on is the call. Umpire Noonan. Well, the umpire's prepared to give both sides an opportunity to get it and get rid of it.
Jack Lant getting in there to support his brother at the bottom of the pack, just letting Dean Staunton know about it. Dennis, he gets the fist out there in the ruck tap. Now, picked up, I think that, again, there is it Hillier at the bottom of the pack?
It is. Hillier's been caught. Mentors put the tackle on.
Handball out wide now to Fijo. Trying to pick it up off the half volley with Sexton. He'll get it now, courtesy of a Shannon handball, and now gets it back inboard to Shannon. Shannon ducked into that one, now rolls around, gets some space. It's a high ball just across the corridor. Mark can't be taken. Smith, he picks it up. He's tackled as well. Good strong tackle from Ling, who's been a revelation down there in defence as well since he was sort of moved there from the midfield. I think it was just after the Christmas break. It'll be a good matchup as well. Ling on Smith. Ball up in that forward pocket. Grenfell gets it out now. Fijo winning that foot race, but just paddles it over the boundary line.
Grenfell exerting his dominance in the ruck early against Dennis and against all comers, actually. He's taken on Mazzini. I don't know where Matty Dennis has set himself up about 2 kicks back on centre wing on that far side here at TIO.
So ball goes in. Grenfell again with the hit out. That time up against Mazzini. Smith gets through, has a shot. It'll be wide, well wide. It's out on the full. In fact, it's touched over, so we'll have a boundary throw in. Saints coach's box there. Chopper still looking relatively calm in these early stages. Now back in, Grenfell with another hit out down. Just banking them up early. That'd be good for him to get a few, even if it is just against Mazzini early in the piece. And deja vu.
We'll go right back to where we started. I think both sides just early on just feeling themselves, feeling each other out there in terms of what they've got ahead. As Grenfell, Mazzini got his hands on it, couldn't get clean possession away. Parnell tries to come in, but Mentha meets him with the body. McQueen dragged off it before he can get a kick away. Jacob Long there and Jellyman Turner smother the kick of Dylan Barry. And it goes out of bounds just around from the 50-metre arc and will be thrown back in on that far left-hand side.
So Mary's have thrown everybody back. There's not a single player in past the half circle for either side at the moment, all down that defensive end.
Grenfell tried to steal it out of the air. McQueen comes through, puts it on the boot, going towards goal, arms up in the air from Dunstan, and the Crocs are on the board.
Great goal there, and you felt the pressure was just building a bit there, one way or both ways. Either Crocs were going to burst through for a goal or Saints were going to hit them on the counter-attack. It was the Crocs who broke through. Fantastic goals. Take a look at this out of the ruck. Came in a little bit short. Just taken out of the middle straight away and snapped. And it's probably why they're starting with Parnell on him in the middle, because he can damage you and he does fly under the radar, McQueen.
And he's got that right elbow still heavily trapped, and I heard the ligaments were the ones that were causing him the problem. So last week, Nick, we watched him come off. Did we end up doing any tips? I just got to quickly know. Nick, who did you tip?
Go for St Mary's.
Will?
St Mary's by 9 points.
All right, well, I was after the Crocs. So come on, Dennis. Dennis gets it. Matty Dennis shouldn't be cheering on, but he's put it straight on the boot. Oh, and then taking that mark then was Schwartz.
Great mark there at the fall of the ball.
So Bo Schwartz goes back from 50. He's telling Dunstan to set himself up, and Dunstan's going to go for it. Punched off fingers from him, and it's gone out of bounds just. And they had Fijo there. So the Southern Districts Crocodiles starting to warm up a little bit here, because I think that's the second win out of the middle they've had.
And I have written those tips down, Will, because he has changed them at half-time a couple of times this year.
Bite your tongue, Nick, thanks. It's like changing jockeys mid-race doesn't happen.
Ball up in the middle. Oh, sorry, in the forward pocket. And it's Jellyman Turner picking up the crumbs at ground level. Throws on the boot, gets it out of there. High and wide. Spills over the back. And another ball up on that far side. Just having a quick look at the flags there. They are blowing towards that airport end. Looks relatively smooth, but not too strong.
It's about a 21-kilometre breeze at the moment. They are getting a lot further with their kicks going to that end there. And as we said, a couple of games before, the team kicking that end has won.
So Lant almost held there. Sexton gets a handball through. Hillier got his hand in the way too. No easy possessions as Lant picks it up, just throws it on the boot, gets it forward. Playing in front there, Dill McLaughlin. Ball spills over the boundary line again. A lot of stoppages so far to start this one.
Yeah, I would have thought with the better playing conditions that we've seen, Will, and dry ground, no rain, open spaces, the runners would come to the forefront. Maybe they will towards the end in the second half.
Dennis. Ball just goes in front. Schwartz again getting to the bottom of the pack there. And a free kick drawn out going to St Mary's. Launches it into the Calder direction. There's 3 around in to beat. Ball comes off his hands, now spills into that corridor. Sexton picks it up. Ball spills out courtesy of some Yarran pressure and now works back. Great smother there in the forward line from Musgrove. Driscoll, he got a safe kick out into the back pocket to Bowden. He now goes over the top. McLaughlin couldn't take it on the full and just goes long and wide. Getting to it will be Mazzini. Has Brocklant to beat. Now comes support through Dill Barry and through Zach Robinson. And there'll be a ball up there on the wing.
Good result for the Crocodiles, really. It was only a 50-50 kick, and the fact that they've managed to bottle it up on centre wing is Dennis. Kind of got a hand on it, not sure. Staunton was in there, wrapped up by Yaron. And the ball again will go out of bounds.
Nick Yaron, another one who's already showing a bit of intensity and flair to his game, and he's been in top form for them in the last month or so of footy, just coming to the forefront at the right time of year.
Well, will we see a repeat of last year's grand final between Waratahs and St Mary's? Or will Districts and Minor Premiers get up? The loose again, centre wing, bodies off ball. No one really, the umpire's just letting them go until someone picks it up. No one is. And umpire Callum Loney will come in and ball it up. And Yaron is the last off the ground. Yeah, it will be interesting to see if we see a rematch after the last couple of weeks and even this season, really. As Saints go on the attack again. Mitch Musgrove there, got his fingers on it first, but putting him under pressure was McAdam. Can't get away from McAdam again. Now the handball over the top. McLaughlin just picks it up. Easy as you like. He goes up to the big fella, Dennis. It comes off his fingers. Barry's at the back. Wrapped up by Yaron just as he kicked. Saints can rebound here through Brock Lant. They do. Picking it out there was Smithson. So Lant to Smithson. Smithson then goes up forward. Over the back. Out the is Lant. Jack Lant couldn't get it cleanly. Still in. And now it's just gone out and will be thrown in.
One point in this game as we come in, just been to the 12-minute mark of the first quarter.
A few TARS supporters in the crowd there as well, not quite on that screen, but they'll be eagerly watching as well. Obviously, you don't want to pay too much attention to who you're going to be against as handball goes back, and a barrel out of the back line there from Southern Districts, just going down the line. Picked up by Sexton. Yaron again making his presence felt. Taj Stanley gets a handball over the top and Crocs are away. Sexton finds Staunton on himself by himself. He'll get it back to Sexton. He now kicks inside 50. Mentha picks it up and gets around long. Just taken over the boundary line in the action as well.
Didn't have a lot to kick to in the middle there when he got that ball, and he was obviously going to score from there. So just needed to wait a second, and that rushed him out of bounds.
Still nice build up there. He went one way. Long was up to the tackle though.
Long's been a great addition to this side late in this season as well. Really helped them as they've hit their form. That kick, another clearing one from St Mary's, just gaining a bit more territory again. A lot of footy being played down on that far wing as well.
Yeah, it might not be the prettiest of football. The build-up of Southern Districts just then, before that ball-up, wasn't too bad, but it hasn't been the prettiest of football, but goes to the pressure of being put onto these two sides as Dennis just slaps it forward. Staunton gets it quickly, and then quick hands, not great hands. It came to Luke Smith, and his kick was smothered, and we'll have another boundary throw in. And I'd hate to lose count of how many we've had so far.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. There's been plenty of stoppages in this one. Dennis, another hit out there. Smithson picks it up, gets a handball away as he's tackled. Smith picks it up, running back the other way though, and he'll go looking for the advantage of McQueen. Oh, good mark. Second in line there to Parnell. He kicks it out now to Zach Robinson. He's got Vallejo wide if he wants him. Doesn't really like the look of that. Instead, he'll go down the line to Smithson. Comes off his hands. Vallejo puts his body in there. So too does Schwartz, and the Districts extract it. Shannon gets a handball forward. He'll go from McQueen now to Stevens on 50. Gets around his opponent. Has to be sharp with this one. Beautiful kick there. And he's found Jack Mentha, 15 out from goal.
Yeah, Stevens lowered his eyes, and he's only just come onto the ground from the interchange. He didn't blaze away like most players would do there. He took his time and picked out Mentha.
How good was the handball from McQueen, but the handball to McQueen as well from Shannon. And then the quick hands as Mentha will come in. He's not going to be very far out at all.
Good kick, makes sure of it. And so Southern Districts hit the lead for the first time in this one. 2 straight 12. St Mary's 1-1-7. It's 5 points as we hit the 15-minute mark here in the preliminary final.
Southern Districts have looked good when they managed to get a bit of a run on like they have with this one.
Just
ball out
this.
the back.
Yeah. Good work there from Schwartz, and then it comes out. But watch the handball here. Shrugs one. That's Shannon. McQueen straight onto the runner. Then this step and pass.
Yeah, he was never going to blaze away there. He knew exactly what he was doing. He's just waiting for him to get a bit more space, and picked him out perfectly.
Grenfell and Dennis. I just sense that Matty Dennis is starting to get on top a little bit here. Straight bounce. Dennis just sort of got it up once and then got it down. Quick hands. Saints with a clearance this time. Still loose on the ground, taken high. And a free kick will go to Smith. So Luke Smith, Southern District's best and fairest Luke Smith this year. He goes sideways, picks out his teammate. And that was Kane Stevens, as Stevens gives it off to the running Bowden. Bowden just sends it up looking for the Matty Dennis. It's going to be loose on hands. They just keep it moving forward to the Crocodiles.
Very deserving winner of their best and fairest, Luke Smith. He sort of plays that Dustin Martin, Christian Petrarca type role where he's, you know, on half forward in the forward line. He can kick goals, but you can inject him in the middle when you need a bit of X factor in there as well. And been really consistent for them this year too. I think he finished 5th on the overall goal kicking table too, so knows how to find them. Nearly laid a tackle there. Instead it'll come St Mary's way. Nicky Aaron, he kicks it long down the line looking for Calder, but just found himself second in line there. Getting to it is Jack Land. He hits the deck, gets a handball in the Vallejo direction. He paddles it forward as well. Smith, he now picks it up, handballs it to McAdam. McAdam gets a handball away, and Districts again could be away. Sexton goes to the inside 50. Dunstan was on the lead a long way from home. Staunton will pick it up. He has to run around to get past Green. Does a little check side. It'll hit him on the half volley. Dill Barry. He now is taken over the boundary line by Brock Lant, and good stingy defence there from the Saints.
Yeah, Saints defence working overtime there, just pressing across, forcing the Crocodiles into that boundary line area and just cutting off their avenue in. But Dylan Barry, he picks that up cleanly. I think he had the, I think he might have had the yard that he needed to get away from him. Once again, Dunstan presenting himself and Staunton proving invaluable as he's made his way back from suspension. Dylan Lant wrapped up, can't get clean kick away. It's picked up by Xavier Falagio. He gives it off to Jellyman Turner, who just sticks it on the boot, kicks it 50 to get it out of the way, get it out of the St Mary's danger zone. Coming through is Musgroves, can't get clean possession. He gets knocked over. Hartung's in there to try and help. Free kick's been found though, and it'll go to Southern Districts. It'll go to Driscoll. So Driscoll with an opportunity to set things up for Southern Districts. Dennis, the flyer, punched away from him. At the front was Staunton. That was Stevens. Here they go again, the Crocodiles. Good build-up. Dylan Barry turns onto his left, looking for Dunstan. Off his hands. In front, though, is his teammate Smith with a snap at goal.
Great goal there from Smith. And Matty Green, in some form, managed to get the ball to ground there. Unfortunately, Smith has just read it better off hands, and that is an absolute ripper. As we can see here, the Crocs have just been a bit better tonight at breaking the lines, and that's the sort of game they'll play. Their movement forwards like clockwork too, very smooth. Green just getting a fist in there on one of the better key forwards in the comp, and Smith just in front position, just knew where to be.
Got hit heavily after disposal then, Smith as well, but just bounced up, more interested in celebrating the goal, I think.
Absolutely. 3 goals straight now to Southern Districts 18, 1-1 to St Mary's as we're coming into the 19th minute mark of the first quarter.
Will, this is the difficulty for St Mary's. They've been slow starters the last few weeks.
Yeah, they have, though it hasn't always hindered them. Against Waratah in round 17, I think they were down by about 6 goals at quarter time and ended up winning by a point. So you never write the Saints off. And as you said ahead of the game, Danksy, especially not in finals, here's Paredes now plays on from the middle. He kicks it into the forward line in centre corridor, but Big Dennis is back there. He flew, couldn't take the mark, comes off his hands. Smithson's wrapped up with a ball on ground level. Umpire will call for a ball up. We're just getting into red time here as well, which in finals time as well, it's almost like a bit of extra heat added to the game. Dillant just paddles it backwards, or over his head forwards, I should say. Vallejo gets a handball out now, going to Boyle. Has a shot into the pocket. Calder, ooh, just bounces off his chest. He kicks it, very cleverly to Hillier. And I think Driscoll and Calder are just getting stuck into each other. There'll be a free kick going. I think that's for a dangerous kick.
Yeah, partly dangerous also. I think he was held off it there, as in McLaughlin. So McLaughlin will bring it back out. He's got a kick to a contest, though. Grenfell has set himself up there. Mazzini's at the back. Loose there. Brockland's going to get to it first. He's got a teammate inside in Jellyman Turner. He's got runs into traffic. Wrapped up beautifully by Mazzini. Here come the Crocs. Staunton from Barry. Barry then puts it on the boot looking for Dunstan. Dunstan can't quite get it gripped. Punched away by Green. Spinning out of trouble with Stevens. Over to McQueen. This is trouble. McQueen's kick interrupted. Underground. Fijo gets it first time. Handball over the head. Back to McQueen. McQueen picks out Barry, and Barry on one knee takes a chest mark, and from 45 out I think he'll go back and have a shot at goal.
Crocs again just breaking the line a lot better, and it's a bit of a funny old game. It's quite stop-start as we saw particularly in that first 12 or so minutes. Since then though, Crocs have just been better at moving the ball quickly and cleanly, but Matty Green, he's having some game already. Meanwhile, Barry walking in on goal. It's just a bit wide, just through for a behind. So their first minus score, 3-1-19. They're 2 goals up against the Saints on 1-1-7.
I think they would have liked that as a goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
As going into the quarter-time break. I mean, you know, and yes, Matty Green is doing it, but Dunstan's at the moment just seems a little bit overawed. He's getting pretty good delivery, just not capitalising on it. As they come out again through, this time Galbraith. Galbraith up to Dunstan. Got his hands on it again. Now he's got to go back and do some road work. Smith comes in and wraps up his opponent. And the ball will be balled up. Good, strong physical contest down there. And that's Ling being dragged off the ground.
So in red time, ball comes down, and Brockland, he just gets it out of there, kicks it wide, picking it up is Hillier, keeps it in. Now he goes back inboard at the fall of it. Looks like it's Parnell, but it's dumped down there from Bowden. Crocs could have an opportunity. Stevens, he gets his ball down. Handball over top from Sexton to Fijo.
It's going to come back.
Free kick.
Yeah, he grabbed him with that when he was on the ground, then he didn't expect him to get the ball, and he just grabbed hold of him.
Now to Hillier again. He goes wide to Vallejo. On half back. Goes to the runner, Jellyman Turner. Takes one bounce, looks forward, Cold is pointing for it in the pocket. He'll go there, kicks it very wide, and a bit too wide. Out on the full.
Well, a little bit not great delivery to Jackson Calder. I mean, you know, he's the Dennis Dunn goal-kicking winner for the season. He'd be asking for a bit better delivery there.
Yeah, the coach's box had hand on head then as well, so he'll probably get a chat about that at quarter time.
But, you know, when you consider the delivery to Jackson Calder is not great, and then the delivery to Sam Dunstan as the siren sounds to end the first term has been exceptional, but Matty Green's held up.
With that breeze, Southern Districts take a 2-goal lead into quarter time here at TIO Stadium. We'll be back with you shortly.
To the left of your radio they go.
Wow, what a goal to start the game.
Beautiful. Goes for home and has nailed an absolute ripstorter. From the pocket, and he's kicked an absolute ripper.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to AFL NT's coverage of the 22-23 TIO NTFL Final Series here from TIO Stadium in Darwin and Larrakia Country. Preliminary final action of the Men's Premier League, Southern Districts versus St Mary's, and a good first quarter for Southern Districts. 3 goals, 1-19 to St Mary's 1-1. My name is Nick Danks, my commentary partners Ashley Manakaris and Will Czar. Will, good start for Southern Districts.
Yeah, it took about 12 minutes, but once they found their straps, they were really good, and we just saw them play a bit more of an open playing style, moving the ball forward a lot cleaner, a lot smoother, and breaking the lines on the counter-attack. Dunstan's sort of been well held by Matty Green, but it seems as though Districts are almost prepared for that. Matty Green's probably been the premier key back all year, and especially in this last couple of months of footy, and they've always got someone ready at the fall of the ball there to support Dunstan.
And so, very quickly, if can I ask, Will, your Vallejo, your Anthony Vallejo, what do you tell your troops at quarter time?
I think they need to sort of hold it a bit better when they are getting it forward, and it seems when it is getting their forward line that's quite crowded, they'd probably want a bit better service to Jackson Calder and to Luca Oborn down there as well, but I think they just need to make sure that they're not getting sucked into the contest as it's moving forward.
Yeah, they would like to serve some better to Jackson Calder. 58 goals this season in the home and away round. Both sides, though, can kick a big score. Both sides have scored over 100 points in 5 games this season. And, of course, St Mary's scored 205 in one of those games. So they do have scoring power up front. They just need to get the ball down there. So this quarter will be very interesting.
Yeah, it is. Just looking at the midfield lineups there, you'd have to give a slight advantage at the moment to Southern Districts. Just looking in there, you've got Dennis, you've got Staunton, you've got McQueen. And the other boy is Stevens, I think it is. Kane Stevens. It's
hard to do, but Dylan Lant seems to be kept pretty quiet that quarter. Didn't have as much of an impact, so Dean Staunton definitely taking the points early in that one.
As Dennis wins out, it comes down to Kane Stevens, wrapped up immediately by his Saints opponents. And Dylan Lant, at one stage, was carrying a bit of an injury in his calf, so I hope that hasn't come back to bother him as Yaron gets it. Quick hands. Puts it out to the running Parnell. Parnell lines it up, then handballs over the top. Here come the Green Machine. Can they get one early? And it slides off to the side and through for a point.
I don't think he was expecting that ball. Then he sort of took a bit of a stutter when the ball was handballed across to him. He was on the wrong foot and just pushed it to the right.
So now kicking it in, Driscoll from fullback, looking for the big fella Dennis, comes off his hands and spills out over the back, will roll over the boundary line.
We had a lot of throw-ins in this game, and I think it was the first one on this side of the ground for a long time.
Yeah.
It's spent a fair bit of time on the opposite wing. Bit of a breeze going to the right of screen, the airport end here in Darwin.
Dylan Lant receiving a fair bit of attention at this ball up, as you can see. Almost being shepherded off there by Staunton as Dennis takes it and kicks it forward. Ball hits the deck. Jellyman Turner there to crumb it. He gets a handball away. Didn't really help Parnell, who was tackled instantly and taken to ground. How will the umpire call it? Ball up just forward of wing for Southern Districts.
Good decision by the umpire there. He didn't have any time at all.
Grenfell paddles it down. Smith gets a handball over the top to Kane Stevens. Now looking for Schwartz. Handballed over the top and intercepted by St Mary's, but only as far as Dennis. Gee, he's just sharked it away from Dill Lant. Now kicked it to the hot spot. Dunstan almost held. Well, it bounced through. It keeps going and going, and Matty Dennis. What a goal that is from about 80 metres out.
Certainly is.
Well, what about the athleticism then of Matty Dennis to step around the players in traffic? We're going to see that on replay, but how good was that?
And Dylan Lant, of all people as well. Handball comes. In fact, I don't think it was...
it was Maney, gave it over the top.
Matty Dennis, so he's just sold a bit of candy there to Lant and just launched it. Looking there for Dunstan at full forward.
No one touched it.
And just kept going and going and going.
And that was from, as you said, about 60 metres out, but by the end of the season, that'll be 85 metres out.
And I would think Sam Dunstan would be saying that he had a score assist.
Yeah.
By backing into Matty Green. We go back into the middle. Matty Dennis, confidence through the roof, just like the big ruckman himself. Comes down, trying to bounce through was Boyle. Boyle's kicks touched off the boot, punched away though by McLaughlin. McLaughlin gives a handball over to Staunton. Staunton back onto Dennis, playing like a midfield rover. Now it comes to Stevens. Not a great handball. Coming through, Jacob Long wraps up his opponent, still bouncing. Picked up then by Boyle. Boyle puts it on the boot. It's going to bounce in front of Luke Hillier. If he can get clean possessions, he might be able to swing around and get away with it. He does. Handball onto Jack Land, who slips. He's got a handball underground to his brother Dylan. Dylan's hurried kick, though, is cut off by Bowden. Bowden puts it up to centre wing, where it's all Southern Districts, and it's the skipper, Dean Staunton, gives it over to McQueen. McQueen with a long handball over the top to Stevens. Stevens with a short pass to Dunstan, who takes one on the chest. And a lot of Southern District supporters are going, finally.
I think this is about the first time he's touched the ball today, Dunstan. He's been in this area a lot. Cleanly, first time he's cleanly touched it.
Hope he doesn't listen to these broadcasts back. But he's going to go back and have a real opportunity here to put this through. And if he kicks this, I'm pretty sure the barbecue at the Mansfield McMillan household will be cheering.
So Dunstan, big long run up, going through his routine now. Kicks truly just faded right.
I dare say at the barbecue they'll be reaching for a beer and twisting the tap off instead.
He does, when he's got his kicking boots on, he knows where to find them. I think he's kicked bags of 8 and 7 this year.
Yep. St Mary's through Jellyman Turner, just send it out. Grenfell has it punched away from him. Now they're going to clean it up. District's not wanting to get out of trouble as Maney gives a handball over the top to his skipper Staunton. Staunton just put it on the boot and marking it unopposed. That's his second mark in 45 seconds. Sam Dunstan, is it?
It's Matt
Mazzini, number 18.
And very highly regarded out there at Southern Districts as well, as I understand it.
He's been a workhorse. He's up from country South Australia.
Flies under the radar a bit, playing that sort of secondary ruck role, and behind Dunstan he's almost probably the third forward depending on their lineup each week. But he'll have a shot here. This will be good for his confidence too. Just tries to work it back. Yeah. Another behind.
Well, he came up to the Northern Territory as a defender, Will, and probably why he doesn't get away with it there is it ends up in Smithson's hand from the kick in from Jacob Long, and then Long has just gone back, who's going to take the mark right back in the square, Mentha.
So we're nowhere there, and there was someone loose on the wing then.
So now they've just gone overboard to over the top to Smithson again, who just plays on quickly.
They look a bit lost at the moment, St Mary's. Don't really know who to kick it to or where to kick it.
No.
Just down the line looking for Jack Lant. Taken high.
Yeah, free kick will go to Jack Lant.
Wanting to move it pretty quickly, I think, but ball didn't quite get to him cleanly.
Well, it was optimistic in terms of the moving it on quickly. It was Galbraith just the offender there.
He'll play on now and kicks it long and wide to Kreuzberger at the top of the 50. Unopposed, he takes a mark, looking to move it quickly himself to the lead of Calder in the pocket. But McAdam, he was just in the hole ahead of him, couldn't take the mark, and it spills through. So check side out there and dribble along the ground. Jellyman Turner, though, he intercepts it now at the top of the 50 himself. He'll send it into the corridor. Good defensive mark there, not taken by Bowden. And looks like...
No, it was late, it was high. Bowden got cleaned up. Umpires immediately come in and paid a 50-metre penalty.
Yeah.
And I think that's against Oborne. He has done a couple of times this season. Can damage Saints from time to time. Mazzini, he'll now look to get it on that wing. Very well taken, but unfortunately just caressed over the boundary line as well.
He probably took that one too early because he ended up with running about a 30-metre penalty instead of a 50-metre penalty, but got themselves into trouble, but it's on a boundary throw in now.
The players were too busy running up the field, chasing the player with the ball on the 50 to worry about remonstrating any further. So from that point of view, good outcome all round. Game just got on with as Dennis just wins it forward, punches it to the hands of Schwartz. Schwartz with a handball over the top. Here come the Crocodiles again. Dunstan sets himself at front. Green just punches it away. Comes to the hands of Jacob Long. Long goes over the top to a teammate.
They've got runners here downfield.
Jellyman Turner over to Kreuzberger. There's plenty of space. Kreuzberger looks up. Leading at him is Dylan Lant. Lant will take it on the chest just in front of his opponent, Bowden. He just runs around and quickly turns it on, looking for Calder. Calder has it punched away from him by Driscoll. Well, if there's a battle up one end with Driscoll and Calder, the battle up the other end between Green and Dunstan is just as intriguing.
Yeah, some really good matchups tonight, and looking at those in the middle as well. Dylan Lant has been moved forward by the looks of things. Bowden now lining up on him. Wasn't really having an impact in the middle, with Staunton doing a good job early.
Just taken out there was done, but it comes to Parnell. Parnell will run his full quota, put it on the boot and put it through.
So Saints finally get the goal they were looking for, and that will give them a bit of hope and a bit of spirit. Just their second goal of the day. Their first, obviously, a ripper from Nicky Aaron in the goal square, sitting on his bum. And that one from Parnell, a bit more conventional.
He just put the accelerator on.
He had Fijo coming in hot too.
So 4 goals, 327 to 2-2-14. A 13-point lead to Southern Districts as we coming up to the 9th-minute mark of the second quarter here at TIO Stadium.
Just a bit of a scuffle in the forward line. Looks like it's Jack Lant they're getting stuck into. Jackson Calder also throwing his weight around.
It's McLaughlin and it's Charlie McAdam in there, just stirring them up, letting them know that they got a game on their hands.
Emergency umpire on field as well there.
One out by Dennis, goes backwards, can't get hands. It can now to Braxton Armat. Matt just puts it straight on the boot, high and long. Juggling it initially there was Luke Oborn, couldn't get clear it. Now it's loose, comes in, picked up by Boyle, hurried handball out. Jack Lant with a little bit of body, a lot of body actually. He just bumps his opponent off and then falls onto it. Now it's knocked out again. It's Districts with numbers though. Can they get clean possession? Umpire Bitterscombe's there, says, no, you're gone. You made no attempt to get rid of that after falling onto it. And it was Schwartz, and it will be a shot at goal to the Greens and goal.
And it'll be Dylan Lant.
Well, this is well within Dylan Lant's range. Don't know what he kicks like on that far left-hand pocket, but certainly it's well within his range. We've seen him bomb them a few times this year.
I think he prefers them on the run, or at least he tends to have more shots on the run. So you're right, it will be interesting to see, and it is on the non-preferred side for a left footer.
See what he does here. He comes in, just a little skip, left foot.
He likes that off the boot.
Everyone does, and the all clear looks like it's going to be given, and it is.
So Dylan Lant, he puts himself on the game finally. Just had our stats come up to the commentary box, and early on in this one, he only had the 2 touches in that first quarter, so very, very well held by Dean Staunton and moved forward. Look, it is a trick that Chopper has up his sleeve. Probably wouldn't have wanted to use it so early in the piece here, but suddenly they're within 7 points, and it feels like they're bringing the game slowly but surely back onto their terms.
Well, looking at these stats that have come to us from that first quarter, Southern Districts, you got Staunton on 8, Matty Shannon on 6, McQueen on 6. Then you've got Sexton and Barry, and then Luke Smith on 6 and Smith on 7 possession getters, total disposals. That's a fairly dominant effort when compared to what you see up on the Saints lineup. We go back in the middle. Smith just soccers it forward. Running off it was Hillier. He got it, then ran straight into trouble. He gets dispossessed and stripped of the ball, and the umpire says, give it to me. Barry's the one that's ended up with it. Hill will force a restart. Hillier just thought he'd get away with it. Dennis wins it out, comes loose. Stevens, just a hurry quick. It's Staunton in a foot race. Can he get there first? He can't. Mazzini can't get it cleanly either. It's Brock Lamp with a long handball over the top. Found Smithson onto his teammate, and that is going to go out of bounds. And it was Robinson who was the last to guide it over.
Good crowd here tonight. You're watching AFL NT's coverage of the 22-23 TIO NTFL Final Series from TIO Stadium here in Darwin. And Southern Districts currently leading by 7 points over St Mary's.
Great to see the kids on the other side of the field as well, just behind the fence there. A quick kick comes out in the Staunton direction. He got a handball away but didn't have any support, and we'll have another boundary throw in there. We've had plenty over there tonight so far, and again, just looking at those first quarter stats, Dennis had 12 hit-outs, and the total for St Mary's was just 8, so he's having a very big role so far, and since then he's obviously kicked that massive monster goal from about 80 metres out.
Dennis sets himself up against his younger opponent, Braxton Armat. Experience shown out by Dennis. There it is, Staunton again, collecting more possessions. Not far, he's more than double digit now, is Dean Staunton, as St Mary's will clear it out to centre wing. Coming there over the top, though, was Oborn. Couldn't get clean possession. And then taking it out of bounds was Cruiserberger. Oborn's had to come a long way forward from half forward. So what are the options for Villagio there, do you think? He's going to have to throw his side around a little bit here. Does he have that many options available to him?
I think he's got to be careful because while he's got players he can move out of the middle into other positions like your Paredes and Lance to sort of settle them down. There's not a lot he can move in there. Jellyman Turner perhaps is an option. He's had a fair bit of run tonight. And Nick Yarran, I think, is another one on screen now. He's been quiet this second quarter, but when he's on fire, he can be one of the most explosive in the game.
Brock Lant there just getting caught holding the ball, gave every opportunity. It's gone inboard now to McQueen. McQueen gives it off to his teammate in Delahaye. Delahaye sends it up looking for Dunstan. Barry's running onto it, left foot into an open goal.
And Southern Districts get one against the Tide and extend their lead back out to 13 points. So Shannon Rusker perhaps getting a bit nervous with Saints making a slow but steady comeback, and that's a nice settler from the boys from the Southern Districts, from Coolalinga, from Fred's Pass, from wherever you want to call them, Ashley.
Well, out the bushes. It just comes in. Delahaye just set it up there. And once again, Dunstan. And as you said, they've got the runners around the contest knowing that he's going to be under pressure. And Dylan Barry then, just great quality. Good finish.
So Southern Districts winning this quarter now by a point, but winning the game at the moment by 13 points. Been a good showing this second half from both sides.
In the middle, and it's the young Matt, I think, got his hands to it first there, almost doing the work on ground level as well. McQueen, though, he picks it up, tried to get boot to ball. Matt, he got the centre clearance there to the forward flank, and it's 34 on 34. Jack Lant on McAdam. Lant kept it in his position, and then he slung his opposition without the ball, so it'll be a free kick going the way of Southern Districts.
I think they saw that one in the back row of the grandstand. He's got both his arms there. The umpire didn't have a choice. Galbraith
Looks to keep it down that far side, not making it easy for us to work out exactly who's on the ball, but we'll make do. And Parnell, he's on top of it now with Sexton, wrapping it up. And we'll have a ball up there on the far wing.
They're just prepared to do the hard yards at the moment, Southern Districts, putting lots of pressure on the ball carrier. Dennis won out comfortably. And it's just body on body. We just saw Stevens then run into Parnell. There's a fair bit of that going on out there. They're not afraid to put their St Mary's opponent under pressure. What has to happen is finals footy. And you'd have to be worrying your opponent out of the ball, off the ball, as Dennis sets himself in front of Armat, but Armat got there in the end. Still one out by Dennis, though. Can't get picked up. Diving Sexton tried to punch it back in board. Saints will clear it, though, through Brock Lant, up and under. Punch forward. Now they've got it. Yarran with a spinning kick just sends it in the direction of Dylan Lant. And Calder was over the back there. And the ball's gone out of bounds in that left forward pocket about 15 metres around from the goals.
It shows the breeze there just slightly got hold of that ball, went a little bit further than they thought it was going to go. The breeze is going to the right-hand side of the screen to the airport end.
Ball comes in now. Can Saints muster something from this? Dennis, he gets a fist to it and ball gets out there, but good fend off there.
No, it was a bit high. That's what umpire Noonan's saying. So, yeah, if we get it on a replay, I think it was a don't argue, but it was a don't argue too high.
Smith, he gets a kick down now, looking for Mazzini, gets it out to Shannon. Shannon under pressure from Hartung, gets a handball out over the top, this time with Kane Stevens. Now to Mazzini. He gets it back, and he'll go wide to Smith. Smith, a short one inboard. Getting a hand in the way there. St Mary's player did make it easy, so McLaughlin has to run onto it. He gets it to McQueen. And now he wheels around onto his preferred, kicks it to full forward. Dunstan tried to get his hands on it. He hit the deck. Green just kept his feet again and wraps up his opposition with the ball in tow. And again,
huge second effort from Green, isn't it?
Matt Green is just in some form. I've said it a few times tonight, but so here's that fend off again here.
Just watch it. Yeah, he just got him under the chin. And back in the middle, only 10 metres out from the Southern Districts goal, but it's going to be cleaned out by Jellyman Turner. Runs a full distance and then just puts it straight on the boot. Cruiserberger there has just judged it better in the air than everyone, and he's marked it on his chest. So Cruiserberger, just in front of the St Mary's interchange bench. He just sends it up the field looking for Calder. It's punched away from him. Dennis in an unfamiliar roving role gives it off to Driscoll. Driscoll goes in short to Sexton, who can just go. There's no one on the mark. Sexton from inside the square looks for Mentha. Mentha can't get it. Barry coming through to Rove. Comes to the hands of Staunton. Back to Barry. Barry can't get clean possessions. Knocked over. In there was Mazzini. Handball out the back. McQueen just punches it forward. Saints keeping them scrambling. Defence keep them going as Parnell just taps it out. Puts his opponent, and he's being pinged for a throw, has Parnell. And that was one throw as St Mary's through, Southern Districts through Stevens goes looking for Dunstan. Dunstan scooped it up, kept it in, put it on the boot, goes across the front of goal. It comes to Hillier. Hillier has to kick to an open space. It's going to be 2-on-1. Gets out of trouble is Smithson. Smithson back in board to Yaron. Yaron spills what he shouldn't have. He gets taken high and slung as a consequence and will get a free kick.
At half-back, Yaron. He is one I'd like to see come a bit more alive in this game. So he's just dropped it there. And
this is where St Mary's having no answers tonight. Cruiserberg has taken about 3 or 4 from that position, and they've just had to go across the ground. They've got nothing to kick to up forward at the moment.
Long. He goes, and oh, gee, that's not a good kick there for Ling. They might turn it over here. They're in trouble. Paddle it out now, and Stevens, he gets a handball. Gee, Long's just intercepted it mid-air and tripped up on his way through. So free kick, he'll look to move it pretty quickly. Umpire will bring it back, though.
Yeah, it was about 10 or 15 metres in front of the mark.
It's about as far as he fell forward, so...
Oh, in fact, there's been a turnover. Something happened here. Stevens is going to end up with it. Districts can go into attack again. Stevens' kick has found Sexton over the back.
Beautifully weighted kick, and he's just read it well, and Saints caught napping perhaps there.
Absolutely. I don't know what it was for. We might see in the replay later, but he's turned around. He's asking the question of the umpire. It didn't even see that ball come forward.
Well, you called a trip, I think, at some stage there, Will. So I don't know, unless it was something that Jacob Long did, but he pointed at Stevens. As Sexton comes in and makes no mistake about that. And the Crocodiles have suddenly got their 6th.
And they're feeling up and about. There's just a bit more energy behind them as well in their celebrations when they're kicking these goals. Saints, meanwhile, it seems like each goal is just reducing the margin a bit and keeping them in tail. But
they are a bit flat, aren't they?
They do seem like it's not quite on their terms.
I was almost going to say that as we have a look at what happened here, but I was almost going to say that after the Parnell goal. And, you know, he's run in, scored a great goal, motivating, but they didn't actually just get around him as we see Stevens just quickly sending it straight over to Sexton. Not much you can do about that if you're a defender.
Good crowd in here tonight for the final series scores. Prelim final winner of this will meet Waratah next week in the grand final.
Ball up in the middle, and Grenfell just takes it and gets a centre clearance himself at centre half forward for the Saints. Yaron almost sitting on it now. There'll be a free kick going the way there of Musgrove. Gets a handball off to Grenfell. He's got a big kick, we know that. That's no exception there. Going to full forward. Just through for a behind.
Calder just pointing at his chest there as Driscoll plays on from fullback. Has a bounce. Puts it on the boot. Tries to put it over the top. Hillier's in there to cause trouble. And it was scooped up there by Bowden. And has gone out of bounds and was thrown in. Yeah, Calder just signalling there, Will, that he felt that he was held a little bit in that contest. Umpire not really being interested in that.
Ball probably wasn't anywhere near Calder then as well. Didn't kick to him.
So back in play. Handball comes over the top. Hillier overruns it. Wraps up his opponent. Shannon in tackle. And now Vallejo taking the ground. Ticking to the 22-minute mark of this second quarter. So red time in the first half. And particularly for Southern Districts, you'd think they wouldn't want to give away a late goal here, though. The Saints have gone inside 50. Mark can't be taken. Oborn, he falls over, hits the deck. Jack Landheat strikes it, kicks towards goal. Just the wrong side of the post there.
I think he needed an Indian wicket leg break just then as McAdam brings it out to Driscoll. Driscoll's kick is low and flat and finds Tommy Bousted. So Bousted just goes over the top looking for Mazzini with his strong hands. Mazzini's handball's a bit hot for McLaughlin. Vallejo was in there. There's a bit of body on body, but... And the ball will be thrown in to finish out this quarter. So 22, nearly 23 minutes gone here. Second term, 6-3 plays 3-4. The Crocodiles maintaining a decent gap Grenfell got it down to Paredes. Paredes is worried off it though. It's going to be hot hands. Sexton can't quite get it cleanly. And it was Schwartz that gave that handball.
Saints don't seem to be winning out of the middle, and you know Nate Paredes have just called his name there for the first time in a while. He needs to get himself back in this game. Dill Lant, again, just you can see on screen there, they're paying close attention to him. He's not winning the ball out of the middle. They need to find someone else who can. There's a free kick being paid Saints' way, and
it's going to go to Dylan, and it was Staunton. Sorry, Will, that was actually holding on that you rightly called.
So here goes Lant now. Just goes long, looking in the Oborn direction at the back. Spills over the top. Oborn will be first to it, but he runs into trouble. Picking it up is Driscoll. He goes back and taken over there by Delahaye. They get away with one there. It goes in and finds Kane Stevens, full back, and that'll be all we have for the first half. So St Mary's 3-5-23 trailing Southern District 6-3-39, who've really seemed to take control of this game, Nick.
Yep, 16-point lead to Southern Districts. We'll be back with you with the second half shortly.
Them. It's going to be back through Bowden, who's drifted down from half back immediately, looking for his teammate, and he finds him. 40 out. Tight angle. Sets it up. The Crocs look like it. The goal umpire likes it. Doesn't move. They're all clear given, and they're away straight away, the Crocs. It's William Collis, brother to brother. Now it comes out to Collis again. Look, quick handball. Stepping back inside there was Crocker. And he's put it up and put it through. One out by Dennis, but Benulis just cleans up Sexton, who tried to get it. Now there's a hurried shot at goal. Hope is a flyer over the top and gets it. Is identified as a match winner in this game. He got a very tight angle. He's a right footer. He hasn't made any mistake, and he just guides it through, and the red and whites have got three. Nowhere. Handball back, ends up in Anchors' hands as Hope sets himself, takes an easy mark, plays on quickly, puts it through. Carlin gets it, spins out of trouble. Handball back to Rich. Rich dances around one. Now it's back to Rich. Rich on a right foot, snaps, shots it, goal, puts it through. That kick has been found, and it's going to go to Turnbull. And he's going to kick from outside 50 and try and swing it around. It's not a bad looking kick. The crowd likes it. And the red and whites get their sixth. It's the call. Carlin, hurried kick. It's going to bounce into McAdam. McAdam spills it. McCree comes out to Kirby. Can the big ruckman from 48 get one? You better believe it. Ooh. Stadium. Major qualifying final as Turnbull sends it up looking for Hope, but it's picked out of the air, sticks in the hands of Benulis like jam from a donut, Nick.
Absolutely, look really good then. Hope if would have taken that if he hadn't grabbed it in front of him. They are certainly looking good, Waratah. They've got guys running loose all over the park.
They get number 9. 9 goals. Looks pretty good. Goal umpire doesn't move. Couldn't get it. Benulis was falling back. Picked up by Dylan Barry. Left foot snap. This time is true. Well, Barry makes up for the first one. Underground kick has gone to Schwartz, who gave a handball off to McQueen and then swivels back around onto his right from outside 50. In the square, bouncing through.
And they needed that one, that's to say.
The for District sends it up to the forward line of Dunstan. Dunstan with a handball inside to Cameron Ellis-Yeoman. Can they get two in a minute? Oh, Ellis-Yeoman on the left. It easy, isn't putting any effort to get to him. Hope sets himself up. Brought it down, couldn't control it. Play on is the call, comes to Collis, who's pumping the air because he kicked a goal.
Yeah, Hope run onto that one from a fair way out. Unfortunately, couldn't take it, but Collis was following through like a rover should and popped it over the goal umpire's head.
Now Dunstan, wrapped up, brought down, picked up by Dylan Barry, snapped at goal. The Crocs get another one. Loose, Anchors just soccers it off the ground. No dramas there, gets away with it. Magro. Can Magro pick it up and get another one on the board? I think he can. And Magro gets his first, actually.
inside 50. Waratahs are going for probably their 6th or 7th. And that's Misfit. So again, strong hands. Jordan Misfit lifts it in front of goal, and this is gettable for her.
AFL player, so from Victoria. Let's see what she can do with this one.
And perfectly, she let the breeze take that around, and the first goal on the board for Waratahs. They peppered the goals, so they take the lead by 10 points to nothing here. Fortunately, it come out of the mitts. Waratahs with a clearing kick and a good mark. Well read there by Katie Streeter.
Oh, what a great mark by Katie Streeter. She's back playing great footy after having a baby, kicking that into the forward line, looking for a teammate, but...
the umpires said that's paid the person in front. I thought that was equal hands for that.
It was, 50-50. With his assistant, Toby Stoll, as Pint looked to get their first goal on the board, and that has gone straight through, and aren't they pumped about it, the Pints girls. Great goal there by Casey Morris.
Yeah, good goal, and the opportunist goal as well.
Good early.
Oh, so Chittick's telling her to go along to a one-on-one contest. Lawrence gets over the back. Number of defenders there for Waratahs, but out the back is Steph Lawrence, and it bounces through and straight through for a goal. So Pint have the first goal of the second quarter. And again, the Waratahs defenders just got sucked into that one contest, and Steph Lawrence got out the back and got the goal. The ball's not coming out. Now it does, and a smother again by Zarafa. Then she gets with the Streeter. Well done,
Don't argue.
Zarafa. That was 5 efforts in there, and a good mark there by Celebrity.
She plays on looking for Aggie Singh, but it's going to go over the top. Bounce didn't favour Pints then, and Aggie's mopped it up. She gets tackled, but breaks the tackle and runs on, chucks it on the right, looking for the running O'Brien, who's got 2 players to beat.
Sits well for her, the bounce, and she goes inside out. Maselli's there. Can she get rid of it? She does, and she's kicked the goal. Well done, Waratahs, and that's a goal to Zarafa.
100%.
5 efforts down here on the defensive 50, and then to get the ball away and hit a target. Absolutely brilliant play by the young acting captain. And Nikki Watts goes long. O'Shea, she timed that well. We can take it O'Brien. O'Brien has a shot on goal, and it's gone through. Waratahs have the first goal of the third quarter. More importantly, it jumps them ahead a little bit further. So 9 points here, the difference now. Very important goal against the Flow.
To the middle, hitting up Maselli again. She's got runners on, turns around, looking for Aggie Singh, and she takes a mark on her chest. Plays on quickly, swings around on the right. Lauren O'Shea with a great shepherd there, and through for another goal for Waratah. Wow, Tash.
So Singh, well done, but good work to Waratahs there. They moved it quickly and they caught Pints.
Yep, so Rihanna Newbury's going to take that kick, get it inside 50 for Pints. Looking for Amy Chittick at the front, but it just goes over the top of her. Picked up there by Riley Huppert's. Kick doesn't go where she wants, and Hicks is going to run on and kick a goal for Pints.
So, much needed goal for...
Pretty well, just playing a little bit in front of Brockland there. Now he goes down the line. Is it a mark? No. Yes, it is. in the pocket, very tight angle. Doesn't really look confident, looking like he might pass it off. He does, goes to the top. No, he's gone for goal, and it's gone through. So Tigers get the first goal on the board, and they hit the lead first. Paris, he gets it now. The back line. Saints get it to Vallejo, though. Made himself a mainstay of this senior team, and Yaron check sides it through to start the second quarter. Puts the Saints in front. Good work there from Nicky Yaron in front of Hupperts, and Grenfell will kick it long into the centre corridor. Marked by Dylan Lant. Told to play on. Rolls onto his left, snaps towards goal, and he likes that. His second of the day. And Dylan Lant puts them 13 points up. It is kicked, though. I thought it might have been enough. Top of the goal square. Holder takes it out. Drops the ball, though. Picks it up, kicks towards goal, and he gets it through. So the full forward doing the ruck duties and then capitalising on it. And now that's a 13-point mark. It was Paredes or perhaps Yaron. Now at half forward, a short, sharp one inboard to Jack Lant. He rolls around, tries to evade his opponent, comes back now, and a snap-on goal there. Saints like it. 3 in a row they've kicked. And that one, I think, has gone to Jay Boyle. Is reading it very well at the fall of it. Drew a defender as well, so Boyle had an opportunity by himself, but it's picked up now, run in. Guess who? Dylan Lant. He gets his third of the first half, and he's already having a great day. 25 points. Suddenly St Mary's are getting a stranglehold on this game. Last 4 years. Sometimes that's footy. Eilert, he now goes forward to the run there of his teammate. Snapped over the top, and Tigers get on the board early in this one. Reduce the margin to 18 points. But perhaps the shoulder over the top as well. Not necessary.
Ooh, drilling ball, that one.
And another heavy one, that time going from long on Moody. Moody plays on, kicks towards goal, a high one as the wind picked it up. Not really. It's gone through the big stick, so the Tigers with the first 2 in this quarter. Ball it over his shoulder. Saints, they're hungry for more. Long, he can't take the mark. He's had a few of them this quarter. Almost held without it. Just shepping off the ball, though. And Lant, he centres it over the top to Calder in the goal square. Easy as you like, plays on. That's the sealer. St Mary's will go through to a preliminary final. And for Nightcliff, it's curtain call on their season.
Have to earn it if he is to tie. Oh, he comes down quickly and
on his left. And so they have 5 each, Lant and Calder, and they're in to a preliminary final. St Mary's win to the...
Inside their forward 50, no score on the board as again Oldhouse with strength takes it out of the ruck contest, kicks down towards the goal square, and Stokes just positioned herself beautifully there. So Bianca Stokes from the top of the goal square kicks straight through the middle, no problem whatsoever. So Buffs are on the board. Saints yet to score, and forward 50. Cameron strong in the marking contest. Just got rid of her opponent and then picks up hand passes inboard. Fumbled in there, but now a chance for Wassamo as she swings around on the right foot, kicks down towards the goal square. Off hands, Duggan gives it to Stokes. Stokes with the snapshot. Looks good. It is good. That was good quick hands by Kylie Duggan and Stokes from Dan. Miller again comes in but loses possession of the ball. Saints another chance now as Dan kicks long towards the goal square. There's a pack of players there, but Caitlin Armstrong takes a great contested mark and just worked her opponent under the ball, read the ball as it came in over the top, and this will be a much needed goal for St Mary's just before half time. Yeah, very timely mark there by Caitlin Armstrong. She's going to kick it from the top of the square and put it straight through, and she puts the trademark arms up in the air to celebrate with her teammates. So St
Right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to AFL NT's coverage of the 22-23 TIO NTFL final series here from TIO Stadium in Larrakia Country. Preliminary final action in the Men's Premier League, Southern Districts versus St Mary's. Southern Districts up by 16 points at half-time. They won that quarter by 4 points, but looked a lot more in control. My name is Nick Danks. My commentary partners this evening, Ashley Manakaris and Will Zar. They looked a bit more in control, Southern Districts did, but they only won by 4 points, Ash.
Yeah, but the midfield of the Southern Districts team, and it's Maddie Dennis that's really having the biggest influence there, has really stepped up tonight. And Jake McQueen, Sexton, who else? Kane Stevens. Dean Staunton is having an absolute blinder as the skipper to really make amends for missing last week. And so they've really stepped up, and they're putting all sorts of pressure on that St Mary's lineup.
And Will, what do you reckon St Mary's can do in this second half?
I think it's sort of what we were speaking about, just before the break as well. They need to start winning it out of the middle a bit more. Looking at their starting lineup, looks like Dillon is going to go back in there, as is Paredes, and they're putting Jay Boyle in there, who has played in there a fair bit in the middle, but not one of their more prolific ball winners. But I think that's where they need to do it. They need to get it in the engine room, get it forward quickly, and again, just keep their forward line a bit more open than it has been, because it's very crowded getting back there. First hit out of the quarter, though, goes to Dennis, as you would expect, but Paredes gets the clearance, just sharks it forward. Now it's picked up there by Galbraith. Handball back from Bousted to McAdam, and then laterally to Stevens, getting into it early. He goes wide, and it'll be Staunton running to it first. They've got a 3-on-2 there. Comes back to Fijo, and they've got Smith down the line, but Fijo's kicks a shocker off the boot, and it's out on the full.
Yeah, Fijo just was a little bit lackadaisical in the way that he approached that then. So how was the foot pace of Staunton then to give him every opportunity as it bounces in front of Hillier? Smith, though, in their own 2-on-1. Sexton's now got to run it off to Mentha. Mentha was a bit cute. Has to work to get it back, though. Gives it to McQueen, who's hit straight away by Parnell. And then Mentha comes in to offer some body on Parnell, and the ball goes out of bounds.
Fine. Clear night here in Darwin, 28 degrees, strong breeze to the right of screen, going to the airport end. All the other games today, the winning side has been kicking to that end in the final quarter.
We get a restart under the way. Grenfell, though, is going to take front positions. Dennis puts them on. Kane Stevens is at the back there. Hurried kick, touched off the boot. Staunton's running straight at it. Jellyman Turner runs over it. Mentha back to Staunton. Can the skipper from 48 puts it up and long? It's going to fall short and into the hands of Green, who fumbles it and takes it through for a point.
Yeah, and actually, you hit the nail on the head at the start of this quarter as well. Dean Staunton definitely making up for his missing game last week, and one of my big bugbears in footy is when the skipper does get suspended, because that's absolutely not what you're there for. But if you can come back and make an impact like he has, it more or less helps reverse the job. Now comes back down the line. Oborn gets a fist in there. Dylan Lant trying to work it, and he got boot to ball, but it really only got a couple of metres down the line. Still kept in there, that time by Smithson, but the umpires caught it over the boundary line.
Umpire was right there and saw that one, so was right on it.
So we'll have a ball up on centre wing. Contesting it will be Grenfell and Dennis. Dennis just takes it out again, as he has, gets a handball to Sexton. Almost lost which way he was going there by the looks of it, but he's recovered well. Dunstan nearly took a mark there at the fall of it, as they have been all night, and tonight it's Maney. He gets it back, and now a kick over the top to Smith in the pocket, held by Ling. Umpire calls play on. Ling will keep going. Gets away from his opponent now as well, and that kick out of the back line, not a good one. Districts have another opportunity. Kick it well far away from Kane Stevens. Did a little bit of a blind turn, sold the candy, now has a shot on goal. Has it gone through? It has. What a start to the quarter from Kane Stevens. And he puts the Southern Districts up by 23 points there, double their score, Nick.
Yeah, it wasn't a good kick across to him then, if we get to see it in the replay, but he took his time, throw the dummy, as we said here, kicked out of defence, picked up quickly there, kicked across, just went slightly above his head. I thought, oh, he's lost this one here, but managed to recover through the dummy and then just popped it straight through the middle.
Yeah, great little bit of candy there given to Jacob Long.
Do you know there's no multiple goal scorers on the field, and Southern Districts have got 7 individual goal scorers, and Saints have got 3 of their own. And at this stage, the Crocodiles in the defensive back 6 have got an answer every time St Mary's go there. As we go back into the middle, Dennis wins out again. As it's coming straight through, his Mentha got taken high, and Mentha will take the kick. And it was Boyle. Now Mentha quickly gets it on to Dennis, who's dropped back down. Jellyman Turner stood no chance. As the big ruckman says, hold on. You think I can kick it a long way on the run from 80 out? What do you think I can do at 50? So Matty Dennis will go back and have a shot at goal from here. He's kicked a blinder in the second term.
It didn't take long for that 65 to be 80. As he's having a blinder, though, he is having a good go tonight.
Well, every time it goes out by 5 metres, he'll buy everyone a drink. As Matty Dennis comes in, he's going to kick probably from just on the 50-metre line. He does. Not too bad off the boot. He's looking for distance. Dunstan got a hand on it.
Oh, good defence.
Good defence there. As you heard that from Brock Lant, just comes running out. Lance hurried, handballed over. They're under pressure here, the Green Machine. The defenders are trying to get it out again. Dylan Lant wrapped up as he tried to get a kick away, and that was Dean Staunton. The skipper steps up and says, follow me, boys, we're going this way.
Staunton is absolutely taking care of Dylan Lant. Don't worry about him tonight. Staunton, it's all about him.
Dean Staunton will go back. I don't know, this I think is probably going to be outside of his range. He's looking for someone. He's got no one really. Mentha gives him an option. They'll never clear out that square, I wouldn't think. Fraser Driscoll comes down, but Staunton's going to back himself. He sets it up long and high. It's going to fall short. It's going to come off hands. In there is Grenfell. They're just trying to get it out.
Ooh.
Socket off the ground, just bounces in. And it was the one, Robinson, who was saving the score.
Lucky wasn't hit them for intentional, because he was only one option then when he went to kick that ball off the ground.
And a bit more guts in the kick, and it would have been out on the full as well.
Yep.
Or a bit better connection. And now it comes in. Dunstan, he gets the hit out down there. Maney at the fall of the ball, just trying to work it out. Lant having a tackle. Can't get his hands on the ball tonight. Ball up in the forward pocket.
Staunton really leading the way, isn't he?
Fist comes down. Sexton, he'll roll into it. Big strong tackle there from Smithson straight away at the possession. Another ball up. Yeah, Staunton, as we've said a couple of times now, he's having a real captain's game, and a captain's goal would fit very nicely. Paddled through by Schwartz. Dennis then takes it, gets boot to ball, doesn't get it fast. Smith gets it out now to Mentha. Mentha to Staunton. Staunton paddles it forward again. Oh, great smother there from Brock Lant. They were going into open goal.
It's been about the last 5 minutes some outstanding defence work done by St Mary's. They've had 3 or 4 opportunities Southern Districts have, but St Mary's defence have thrown their body at everything.
Districts looking to close this one off. Saints just trying to weather the storm. Tap down there from Dennis. Big strong tackle.
And just no one has been able to find any space. And the St Mary's defenders and the Southern Districts forwards in an intriguing battle as Dennis takes it out of the air, puts it on the boot, and it was touched off the boot, called by the field umpire.
He's playing some game. He's played some pretty good games this year, but this one goes along with that round 18 clash where he just took it on his own. Now running out of there's Matt Green, another player in fine form out there. Gets it wide to Hillier. There's been a 50-metre.
No, it was a handball from Hillier. This will be a 50-metre penalty. So what happened was Hillier, it got gave the handball away, and then Mazzini grabbed his jumper, and the 50-metre penalty is Mazzini sends it up forward. Well, like bodies just crash and bounce on the ground. Calder gets one hand on it and got it onto a boot, but it went through for a point.
Looks like he's rolled his ankle as well. We'll keep an eye on that. But now it's Fijo in the back pocket, and the boy can run. Instead, he'll just kick it to a 2-on-1, and the two Saints players have taken each other out. Support's come there for Districts, but they go over the boundary line. Calder back up to his feet in the goal square now, just stretching it out.
He'd come straight off the interchange bench and went into that one.
Cruiserberger was the one that got the biggest hit.
From his teammate there in Hartung. Another ball up in St Mary's forward half now. On their forward flank, Dennis again, another hit out this time on Auburn. Very undersized there. The boy from Crib Point. It's a free kick going Saints' way, so can they muster something up here? Nick Yarran, he'll play on. Kick it to the top of the goal square. At the fall of it's Grenfell. Calder at the back, he'll turn around and snap. And finally the Saints have one on the board, but he's looking very ginger, isn't he?
Yeah, Calder has been limping. He didn't want to go for that ball. He was lucky that it dropped over the back to him, but he did put that one away well, but he's not looking good at all, Calder.
No, he's definitely done something to his ankle there. When you look at this replay, he's actually about 10 metres from the actual contest. It's just luck, really. See, he's not moving. Barely gets there. And it's just luck that it bounced to him.
Yeah.
And he's coming to the interchange bench now.
He didn't want to come off while the ball was down the forward line, and it proved to be the right decision in the end, but he's jogging off though, which is a good sign.
Well, that's what full forwards do. if they can smell a goal, they're not going to go anywhere. We go back into the middle. Auburn is one of the changes that Villagio has come up with here as the coach of St Mary's to try and stem the influence of Dennis. So Matty Dennis wins out, gives it over the back. Smith can't get clean hands. In fact, he was grabbed in the process and will now get the kick. He comes out to his teammate. We haven't seen much of him, but it's youngster Taj Stanley. As his young Stanley then puts it on the boot, sends it up. Mazzini had his jumper grab, let go, bouncing. Now Mazzini's got a second chance at it. Barry comes in, left foot just puts it into the middle corridor. Dunstan on the lead, gets a mark. Well, he hasn't really taken much tonight, but he's taken that one. And Dylan Barry, all he did was just centering into the corridor.
Got a forward like Dunstan as well, sitting in the goal square, and all he needs to know is that when the ball's coming, it's going to be straight in front of that corridor. You just want to kick it there and hope he can get on the end like he has there.
Well, he judged it beautifully in the air in the end, and whether Dylan Barry caught him moving out of the corner of his eye or not doesn't matter, because Dunstan will go back and have a shot at goal. He's only going to kick from about 25 metres out, almost directly in front. And Southern Districts hopefully will be getting their 8th goal as Dunstan just comes in and guides that through.
Kicking his first one for the night for a 23-point lead to Southern Districts. 8-goal 5, 53 to 4-6-30 as we're just coming halfway through the third quarter here at TIO Stadium in Darwin. As we watch our replay again, the ball comes into him.
Good fist in there again from Parnell, but they just weren't clean at ground level here. And Barry had an option, a handball back if he wanted it in Menford, but you think Menford, based on the way they've been playing, probably would have kicked it to the same area. They just got it into that hot spot, that central corridor within 30 metres of the goals, and Dunstan's taken a mark. Becomes our 12th individual goal scorer as well for the night. Still waiting for that first dual goal scorer. Matt having a go in the ruck against Dennis. And Dennis again. Now with Smith. Bit of X factor and class in the middle. He goes forward. Mark can't be taken by Lant. Now with Staunton. He paddles it. Mazzini will pick it up. Snaps on goal. Bounces the wrong way and through for a behind.
24-point lead now to Southern District. You'd think St Mary's would need the next one. I know it's only halfway through the third quarter, but they've been behind the whole game.
It feels like more than 24 points as well, doesn't it? They don't seem like they're within that close range. Not saying that it's close at all. Here come Southern Districts rebounding that attack. They'll go into the middle. Very, very well communicated there. Unfortunately, the handball couldn't stick, and Stanley will go back to Mentha. They'll have another crack, just had to handball it to space. Not a good one in the end. Now Musgrove, he'll kick it over the top there. Finds his target in Boyle, and Boyle will play on. Kicks it long, Land at full forward now. He's kept behind his opposition though. Paredes, he's trying to work his way forward. Dives on the ball.
Yeah, and a free kick. Just body slam there in the end was Paredes.
He was the only one really going for the ball then, and they got him in the back, and he went down. As I said, St Mary's needed this one.
Experience being shown there by the St Mary's skipper.
And it's not the captain's goal we called for, but it's the one this game probably needed, as he reduces the margin again back to 18 points.
Well, their midfielders are going to have to try and stem the influence of Matty Dennis, because he's giving them first use. And he's been pretty good as Jackson Calder is coming back on the field. He's been giving their midfielders plenty of use. So we just watch what happens here. So it's sent up long into that forward 50. Paredes, you can see, just sets himself. Dylan Lant was on the lead there. Paredes with a little bit of body, just toe poked it. And then McLaughlin was the one over the top. You could have taken your pick there. It was either in the back or over the shoulder. So either way, St Mary's got a goal, and a much needed goal at that. Reduced the margin and keep themselves in check with Southern Districts. We go back into the middle. Dennis just tips it over the top. Oh, coming through with Smith, but it gets cleaned up though by Smithson. Smithson sends it up to full forward again. He's looking for Calder and Grenfell, but it's punched away from Grenfell. On the ground, Calder, having just come back on from an ankle injury, trying to contest what's going on up there in the forward. The player picks it up, and umpire says, give it to me, I'll ball it up. Ball's not coming out of there. McQueen was the one doing the wrap up.
Saints suddenly in a promising position in their forward line. Paredes, he gets himself involved. Oh, Grenfell taken high, umpires let it go. Bit of recoil action there, and the ball spills out over the boundary line, about 55 out. Even with that, those last two goals they've hit, though, Holders and Paredes, is they still don't seem to have energy around the playing group at all.
No, there's no urgency, and that's one of the biggest things. They're just trying to run with Southern Districts rather than get on top of them and get control of the game. Braxton Armat couldn't quite get a hand on it. They might still get away with this, St Mary's, although wrapped up again, and that's been the story of the night. The Districts players have really been tackling very, very well. High tackling efficiency.
Matt gets a rare hit out down, but Dennis paddles it forward his own way when he gets the chance. Ooh, two players run into each other there, and Saints come away with it, kick it into their forward line. At the fall of it is Grenfell. Can't take the mark. A cheeky check side over to Calder in the pocket. He can't take the mark. Tries to turn his opponent inside out. Didn't take possession of the footy. Musgrove getting involved there, taking the ground. Arms wrapped up with Driscoll there. Sorry, with Driscoll it was, and Mazzini paddles it over the boundary line.
And there's that Southern Districts defence again, making the Saints forwards really work for every possession and then following it up with second and third efforts. That's what you want as a coach out of your defenders. And Districts tonight, being able to do it tonight. They weren't allowed to do it last week against Waratahs, as Dennis takes front position, misses it completely. Yaron's dragged off the ball. It's picked up by Dylan Lant. Free kick's found. It's going to go to Yaron, I would suggest, who was dragged off without the ball, as Yaron sends it up to full forward. Grenfell's there, so too is Calder. It comes out the back, trying to pick it up and run through. There was Paredes, couldn't get it cleanly, loose inside that square, full forward square, and it's tucked and through for a point.
When Nick Yaron gets the ball at half forward, keep an eye out. He's just had a shot there, didn't go through for a major, but he's obviously kicked one tonight, and I think he's set up about two of their other goals at least. Having a very dangerous game up forward.
And St Mary's are going forward, though. It is that rush type of football on the forward line, whereas Southern Districts have got the big guy taking a couple of marks and look a lot more comfortable going forward.
How was that for a handball, Will? That was probably a 25-metre handball. Yep. They might get away with it through Driscoll. Now they're running it in. It's Jake McQueen. You're talking about the way that they run and bring it in. This is a great example of it, Nick, as Steen Staunton sends it straight on the board. He's looking for Mentha. Mentha's the flyer off his hands. Dunstan's playing the role of the rover tonight, as he comes forward, and it was the St Mary's player who got taken high. Jellyman Turner, though, has got advantage, and they play on quickly. The green machine, they can set it up. Smithson kick over the top wasn't great. He was looking for his teammate in Boyle. Now they go from outside 50. Is that Hillier? Hillier goes at goal, and it goes to the right and through for a point.
Had a few options in the forward line. Not super clean options, but there was Lant, there was Calder, and there was the other Lant there. So could have avoided blazing away there, and they need a goal here somewhat against a tie. Jellyman Turner, he cops a falcon. Fijo running down this near side wing, dances around two and gets a handball away to McQueen. McQueen gets a boot to ball, only as far as Parnell on half back. He turns it around, now goes up to Jellyman Turner, who's playing a bit higher up the ground. I like to see that. Inject him into the game as well. Goes to half forward, finds his skipper plays on, goes out to the fat side. Lant will have to work for it at ground level as well against Bowden. Bowden would be first tilt, you'd think, but Lant puts some good body contact on, rolls round onto his left. This is his bread and butter. He snaps it on goal. It's just got a bit too much on it, or has it gone through?
No, it's gone
Dylan
through.
Lant, look at him go. He loves that. His teammates need to get around him. Saints need to lift the energy.
First multiple goal scorer of the night, Dylan Lant, and that was a beauty. The ball did go over the back, and he won that very, very well. Jellyman Turner of pass, get the Falcon and then get the one back from there, but great effort here.
Yeah, and a great call, Will. This is Dylan Lant. Watch what he does. He just out-bodies Bowden, which doesn't happen very often. And then put your glasses down, because that left foot is deadly in that range.
Made the umpire work for it, but he knew that was going through.
Well, I think Dylan Lant ran further in the celebration than he did to kick the goal.
Yeah.
I think that run was to try to force it through, and he got there in the end.
And even then, and without wanting to put a downer on that effort, I only saw 3 St Mary's players go to him. Normally they'd be all up and about. As it's come out by Dennis, trying to give their don't argue as Kane Stevens, but Yaron was there. There was a foot in there, but it was let go. Smithson gives it off to Boyle. Boyle from outside 50 is going to kick to a pocket. Calder's going back. Fingertips once, twice, and through for a point out of bounds. And it'll be thrown in probably around about 15 metres around from the point post, maybe a bit closer. And good field position for St Mary's.
The umpire had a chat to him and then sticking the foot in there. That could have been dangerous.
Well, he got away with it, but only just, I would suspect. The ball is thrown in. Grenfell up forward. They're going to clean it out, though, Saints. How far will they get it?
Parnell, he takes it on the rebound, gets a handball forward to Hillier. Hillier kept very tight. Kick inside 50. Finds Staunton. He'll keep going. Now finds McQueen. And he'll go out this side now, looking for Taj Stanley, who's got wheels and can run. He'll have to, because he couldn't take the mark cleanly, but he's wrapped up by Jellyman Turner. Now his turn. He's pinned him for holding the ball and held up play. He can keep going now out this side to Robinson if he wants, but he doesn't. Umpire tells him to move on. He goes out wide to Hillier. Hillier can't take the mark. Probably should have used the Robinson option earlier. Instead, Southern Districts, the window's open for them. Shannon, he works it forward, so too does Sexton, and only gets it down the throat of a St Mary's defender. Now they'll come out and use Robinson. In fact, it's Brockland. Goes a short one to Hillier. Brockland will keep going if he wants, but he'll turn onto his right. Now goes inside that centre corridor, inside 50, over the back. Driscoll's there lurking, gets a handball away. Another long loopy one. Finds Staunton. He goes out to Shannon on that wing. Plenty of space. Chews up a bit of time and Parnell gets to him. Rolls it forward. Mentha will pick it up on the bounce, you'd think, but he has to get past Hartung. Goes inside 50 now. Smith in a better position, but Green, he mops it up, keeps it alive, keeps going. Umpires will call it back over the boundary line. And
well, it was the goal umpire that called that then, and Saints players not particularly happy, but so be it. But interestingly there, Dunstan didn't bother chasing Green, and they almost got away with that and rebounded much further than that boundary line let them. But there was good build-up from St Mary's, the way they brought it in, clever. Sharp handball from Driscoll at the back. Now and then front position there was Mazzini, couldn't get it. Now it's McQueen, just taps it down. Taken without it. Play on is the call. Comes to Stevens, then on to Dennis. Disrupted by Calder, who's a long way from goals. Yaron, handball out to Cruiserberger. Can he get control? He can't. Musgroves gets worried off it by McAdam. Spinning out of trouble was Driscoll. Driscoll does this kick sideways to McQueen is the only way to describe it. And McQueen, he's got a number of options up forward. One of them is Dunstan. One of them is Smith. It goes out the back. Green is there under pressure. Will just guide it through for a point.
And he's given a free kick. He's pinged him for it. Not enough pressure.
Well, that's interesting. He has pinged him for intentional, and it'll be right on the line, and we're looking forward to seeing that replay.
Yeah, I think he could have just let that one bounce through and it would have still been a point. But
well, Dunstan was coming in, so Dunstan gets an opportunity to be the first multiple goal scorer for Districts. And you'd have to think this is a certainty.
Sammy Dunstan comes in, and look, until half-time he was scoreless, so not really having the best day, but suddenly he's kicked 2 goals and extends the lead out again to 16 points for Southern Districts. Try and get that free kick on the replay again and see just what happened on the goal line. Here we go. So big long kick in from McQueen. Comes off hands. Long gets a fist to it. And he...
long way out.
You know what? He's taken it a long way out. I think that's what he's being pinged for. So the umpire is right, because Green originally touches it at the outside the square and then knocks it forward.
Yeah, he knocked it back in the square when he wasn't under pressure. He didn't need to knock it back that far, but that's a great decision by the umpire.
It is a good decision when we have the benefit of replays.
A big call by the umpire, but it was definitely the right one. It was definitely outside the square when he's knocked that back to his own advantage.
Red time in this third quarter, and Dennis gets another hit out to his name. Held without it almost was, and it's a free kick going the way of Josh Smithson. Can the Saints get a last one here? They kick it long and deep in their central corridor. Mark can't be taken, spills off hands. Getting to it will be young Vallejo. He runs around into the centre corridor again, snaps on, and the Saints, they get one back instantly. Reduce the margin back to 10 points.
Yeah, that's a top quality goal from the youngster. We've gone just about 24 minutes here in the third term, the so-called premiership quarter. 10 points the difference. Xavier Vallejo with a great shot on goal. We'll watch this replay. Smithman gets it straight down forward, which is what they've got to do. They've got to get it out of that centre square, off hands, and we'll see Vallejo swoop on it in a second. There he is there, knocks it to himself, then beats one, and that right foot, no problems.
After that last goal, that's exactly what St Mary's needed to do, was get a quick one to wipe that off. As we're getting ready, we are deep into time on in the third quarter. 10-point lead to Southern Districts. St Mary's have won this quarter by a goal at the moment.
Ball goes up, and Dennis almost outbodied there, and an errant fist. Oborn lucky to get away with that, and Saints work it forward. They overrun it. Cruiserberger and Shannon each making their claim for the ball as well. And it comes out to McQueen. He's been very good tonight. Goes inboard looking for Kane Stevens. Stevens will go out the far side, and he's got a runner in Bowden. Bowden will have to take it on the go. And now he kicks it long. Jellyman Turner, you'd think, he'd gobble this one up. He does. No, he doesn't. He drops the mark, but he's got a bit of time to recover, and he's got a teammate out wide. Gets it out there. I think it's Parnell. He gets a quick 1-2 with Yaron, and then gets it back. That's a 1-2-3 to Yaron, and there's the three-quarter time siren. So St Mary's have willed themselves back into the game. Just 10 points at three-quarter time.
As we come in, we'll be back with you soon here at the AFL NT's coverage of the 22-23 final series. We're back with you with the final quarter shortly.
To the left of your radio, they go.
Wow, what a goal to start the game.
Beautiful. Goes for home and it's nailed, an absolute Prince-Daughter. From the pocket, and he's kicked an absolute ripper.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final quarter of the men's preliminary final here at TIO Stadium in Darwin. Southern Districts versus St Mary's. My name's Nick Danks. My commentary partners, Ashley Manakaris and Will Zar. And St Mary's win that quarter at Will.
Yeah, they do. They've definitely brought themselves back into this game. And I was saying when it was about 23 points, it felt like it was more. Since then, slowly but surely, the Saints willed themselves back in. A really classy goal from Dylan Lant, a great goal from Xavier Vlajo as well, the last two that they scored. And, yeah, I think Shannon Rusker would be shaking in his boots at the moment because they're looking and coming hard.
And Ash, the last two big games we've seen here tonight, the Women's Premier League and the reserves, the side kicking to the right of Queen has come over the top to win.
That's right, and St Mary's kicking to the right. It's bounced down in the middle now, and it's going to be locked up and restarted. And the other thing is the average margin between these two sides has always been around about that 10 points, and that's the margin we're looking at now during the season. So, preliminary finals, notoriously tougher than grand finals sometimes, as it comes forward from Paredes. Dennis is in there trying to pick it up. Sliding in there and getting it is Jellyman Turner. Jellyman Turner just turns and goes to goal where he's got Dylan Lant. It's punched away, though, by Driscoll. You'd have to give Driscoll the points tonight in terms of his matchup with Calder.
Yeah, I think both fullbacks as well. Matt Green has done the job on Dunstan, and Driscoll has definitely had the better of Calder, who we know may have rolled an ankle or something in that third quarter. He's back out there and he kicked a goal since doing that ankle, but just keep an eye on him. Driscoll's having a great game though. Here's Paredes though, runs onto it, does a little dribbler towards goal, but it'll be taken over the boundary line there by Galbraith.
Yeah, out of trouble there. I'm just being handed the stats here. Interestingly, disposals wise, Southern Districts have managed to keep control for most of the game and extend, and 209 total disposals to 148 as the ball comes back in. Dennis, both ruckmen couldn't get their hands on it. Jack Lant picks it up, but he's wrapped up and will just drop to ground. Told to play on because it must be nearly out. And umpire Loney, in the end, decides to restart it. And they will have a ball up. Excellent field position for St Mary's. Dennis, front position, taps it forward. Sexton overrunning it. Coming through, though, was O'Bourne. Can't quite get clean hands on it. Hands and knees, St Mary's. McQueen just shows the ball and then steps around two or three. His kick smothered off the boot by Parnell. Diving on it again was McQueen.
It'd have to be gone there.
He was. He dived on it, dragged it in, and will actually get a... And playing on, well, it's a waste of time really, but that was Boyle, and the umpire Noonan had already blown time to stop play, so they'll have to go back and restart it anyway.
And there's play going down in the goal square. Don't think the umpire's seeing anything untoward yet.
That was Dylan Lant too.
Still paying a lot of attention. Calder at the fall of it. Goes, great mark there to the big fella Matty Dennis. Doing it at all ends of the ground tonight.
Having a great game tonight, he is.
Goes down the line. Good fly there from Dunstan. Couldn't quite get purchase on it though. Parnell, he takes it and is taken over the boundary line too by Smith. We'll have a boundary throw in.
Just needed half a step more there and he was around him.
Yeah, I thought the fly from Dunstan was going to stick. He certainly gave himself every opportunity there, right in front of us here at the commentary position. And it'll be O'Bourne up against Matty Dennis. Matty Dennis proving a very difficult competitor tonight. He just punches it forward and again. Can they get away with it? They can't. Brock Lant overruns it. In there was Ling, hurried off the boot by Mentha. Fijo can run onto this. He's got space and he's got pace. He puts it over the top looking for Dylan Barry. It's going to bounce in front of Barry. He gets wrapped up straight away by his opponent. Can they get away with it, Districts? They can't. It's going to be cleared out by the Saints defenders. Fijo is going to be there again. He's got to outrun Paredes, which he does. Now he gets back onto his foot, then lets go. Now he puts it on the boot. He's looking for his teammate. Grabbed out of the air was Mazzini. Just stuck his hands up and grabbed it.
They still got the ball forward there, but that was great defensive work from Nate Paredes. He's hit the deck and got up instantly, and then he's corralled him very well. Mazzini will look to go short, though. That's gone to Matt Shannon. I reckon that's gone about 15 metres on the dot because it wasn't a big kick at all.
15.01, just over that 15-metre mark. Hillier was asking a question about whether or not it hit the ground.
I'm going to buy land off you two.
Well, you can. You'll be getting a deal.
So Matt Shannon has been very good for them this year as well. from outside 50, launches it. Looks like it'll fall short and just bounces through, overhand through behind. 9-7 they move to.
Well, Districts would be looking for a settler in terms of a goal, and they're not going to be able to get it as Jellyman Turner just runs it out. He's going overboard, and it's ripped off and taken high there with Staunton. And he's had a game tonight that will be talked about for a while.
Plays on, gives it off, and kicked to full forward again. Dunstan's taken a mark.
Don't sound so surprised, Will.
He's lining up for his third, directly in front.
Well, that was a huge effort because there was a number of Saints defenders around him, and he managed to just pluck that out of the air.
I think that's the cleanest grab he's grabbed all night. Even the one earlier on, he bounced off his chest and he managed to pull it in, but that was a pretty clean grab here.
And again, you want your full forwards kicking them from right in front within 20 metres, and he's put that one through, so they move up to 17 points.
And Dunstan suddenly got 3.
All in this second half as well.
Yeah, he's just sort of sneaked up tonight, so he's been getting very good delivery as Staunton just gave it off. And it was just put on the boot. And let's just watch what he does here. Yeah, he just took the front position of Green, and Green didn't stand a chance in the end. We go back into the middle, we'll restart. So 67 plays 50. We've gone 6 minutes here in the final term, preliminary final. Winner through to the grand final, and loser is out. So still plenty of time left on the clock, and still plenty of football left in this game as this one out by Dennis comes to Stevens, then back to Dennis. Now it's Smith, Luke Smith. Sends it up forward looking for Mazzini, taken out in the contest. Cleaned up by Barry. Barry gives it off to Dunstan. It's going to bounce. Where's it going to get there? Is it going to get to Ling? Ling under pressure from Staunton. Now it's 2-on-1. Staunton can go back to Mazzini, but he doesn't in the end. Gives it off to his teammate. Who was that runner through? Was that Shannon?
I think it might have been there.
Yeah, it was actually Matt Shannon, and through for a point.
So Saints find themselves 3 goals down. Green will kick out from full back, and they probably need to start putting some offensive pressure on themselves. Come out this near side. Looking for Musgrove, goes through his hands. Yaron will pick it up though and roll around. Going for Calder. And there'll be a free kick paid for held going Calder's way.
He's quick here.
Got plays, they've got the two, they've got Big Grenfell down there. He muscles himself in a front position, hits the deck. Dylan Lant will get onto it again, just gets the ball. He's wrapped up by 2 in there.
Yeah, he got taken high in that.
Yep.
The first one was high, and that's what the umpire saw and is paying. So the arm reached over the top.
He makes a pest of himself down there, Dylan Lant, and he's got a couple of free kicks tonight from very similar circumstances where he's been the only one really going for the ball.
Well, if I'm correct me, but he is their only multiple goal scorer at the moment.
Yep.
He is, and he's in good goal kicking form. He kicked 5 last week in the semi-final, and a week before I think he might have had a couple as well in the qualifying final, I think it must have been. In he comes now, Dylan Lant. And he likes that one as well. His third for the night, reduces it to just 2 goals.
Well,
8 minutes into the final quarter, Southern Districts 10-8-68, St Mary's 8-8-56.
Once again, after he's kicked it, there isn't the bounce. There's a few players come in, but they're all standing around him anyway. And Dylan Lant is the one guiding the way, so he's got his third.
And they've put him at full forward. Looks like Michael Bowden is playing on him. Do you think they want a player of his calibre perhaps rolling through the middle in these late stages?
Well, they're going to have to get some winners across the ground, so unless he's carrying an injury, you'd probably want to move him there. But having said that, he's kicked 3 goals when he's there, so what do? I mean, it's, you know, you'll be losing potentially a goal kicking forward. As it's handballed over the top, running onto it is Mentha. Hurried handball back, finds McQueen, steps back inside, does McQueen. then puts it on the boot looking for Mazzini. It's punched down in front. Staunton is there to clean up the crumbs. Puts it on his left foot, going towards the goal. Bouncing, and just to the right of the point post, and hit the post, in fact, and through. Goes out
now
to
Smithson. Now over the top again. Green, takes him high. Umpire calls play on.
Yeah,
now goes out to Smith, and Smith on his left. Gee, that's a good left-footed pass there into the hot spot, running through out the back of Staunton. Overran it though, he gets a handball back. Now again, Saints just getting themselves into trouble. Barry rolls onto his left and gets it through. Crocs out again to 19 points.
That's Dylan Barry's second one for the match as well. So Mary's just looked a bit nervous about knocking that one through from behind after being stunned earlier in the third quarter, and just got themselves in a bit of trouble then, and the Crocs just stood back and watched it, and have taken the lead now.
Yeah, that was
11, it's 11-9 to 8-8.
There's Coach Ruska on the bench. Not looking too settled yet.
There's the high tackle. I think I'm wondering whether or not the umpire felt that Schwartz was falling. And as we see this goal get kicked, it comes back in as Smith and sends it across. Dunstan went down. Sharp hands again from Dean Staunton. Here we go. Straight out, Barry. So that's Southern District's 11th goal. And they're now 11-9.
Play underway again. McQueen, he kicks it high, gets it inside 50. Dunstan at the fall of it, can't take the mark. Green gets fist involved again. They just shark it forward. Good body bump there. Saints under a lot of pressure though. District's not really being clean with it. They're just trying to absorb the pressure and build it up. Hope for a turnover, and there's been a free kick for holding the ball going St Mary's way. Told to play on was Smithson. He goes out to find Parnell.
Just 3 goals, 1 in this at this stage, but you just get a sense by the way the game is being controlled that Southern Districts might well have at least one hand or 1 foot on that second grand final spot.
Good tackle from Musgrove and again from Paredes, but Southern Districts maintain possession, work it a half forward. And they find Barry, who's really come alive in this second half. He goes to full forward, and Dunstan outsizing his opponent there. Mismatched was the Saints defenders.
Whistle's gone, and Tom Bousted's the one that's going to get the free kick, I think. He got dealt with after disposal.
Certainly did. He was handballed the ball across the Dunstan, then he got clipped as he's running past. The umpire was straight onto it.
And 12 minutes into this final quarter, this goal could be telling, the most telling of the match so far.
And it's in the hands of the youngster. Tom Bousted, the Southern Districts Junior, was nominated this year for the Rising Star. Will, any tips on who you think the Rising Star might be this year?
I don't know if I'm in a position to comment on that. I might have had a help in the voting process, but
I didn't know that. Tom Bousted puts it through.
He's been a very good player for Southern Districts, and I think he's played almost every game for them. So he's put them up now by 25 points.
Well, they're up and about, and you can see just the difference in the way that the teams have approached it there, as Southern Districts have got the crocodile tail well and truly up. As it comes back out, he gets dealt with off screen there. We can't see it, but he got the free kick, and then he just put it through. And then we just watch his teammates come to him as they came to him from all over the ground. He wasn't sure, and it was all clear. And we go back into the middle. So Matty Dennis is going to go up against Braxton Armat. Dennis has been all sorts and pretty much controlled that middle for most of the game, and certainly given his teammates first use of the ball. Saints did okay though. I mean, they've been working very hard off his hit-outs. Don't underestimate the game of Grenfell, but Matty Dennis has just had the all-round game as he always does, as Mentha comes through with body. Lant now moved into the middle after a stint up forward. Hurried away from Paredes. Paredes put it on the boot. It's taken, not 15, and got taken high in the end there with Stevens. And Stevens will go back and have a kick.
Saints trying to put their physicality into the game again here, and probably just a bit too much there from young Vallejo.
As Stevens plays on. He goes out right to that far side. He's looking for Smith. Smith had front position, bowled over in the consequence in the contest, and it goes out of bounds. and will be thrown in.
Southern District led a quarter time by 12 points, 16 points at half time. St Mary's got back there and were 10 points down at three-quarter time, but it's 25 points now to Southern Districts with about 5 or 6 minutes left to go.
Do you want to hear my tips for the Rising Star, Will? I reckon Peter Politis and Braden Taylor will be the two that everyone watches. Has come back into the contest. Loose. Lance in there. Trying to pick it up, though, was his teammate Shannon, from Districts. Hurried kick in. There's Mentha again to McQueen. It's going to come out to Mentha, who overruns it. Dragged off the ball. Threw his arms out. Let go. Taken high was Vallejo there. And the youngster, I think it is Vallejo, will get the kick.
Yeah, plenty of young talent in that Rising Star.
No, he actually,
award.
sorry, he's going to have a ball up, sorry.
Plenty of young talent in that Rising Star Award, so the future of territory footy is in good hands with a lot of promising names as Schwartz, he handles it out to McLaughlin now, working it forward. And Saints still just trying to get something out of it. Musgrove hits the deck and is hit high on his way through. He'll get a free kick. Umpire calls it on. Kruisenberger takes it and goes. Calder's one out at full forward. Driscoll gets a fist to it, and that will go through for a behind. Great work from Fraser Driscoll.
Very cleverly in the marking contest. He knew where he was going with that from the outset. And when you think about it, Green had that sort of opportunity. Didn't get away with it, as McAdam, who's had a very good game tonight, in the back line for Southern Districts, gets it off to McQueen. Now he picks out McLaughlin, does McQueen, running on his Bowden. Bowden can go in short and find Mentha. Good build up from the Crocodiles here. Mentha's got Fijo. He uses him, and who's got McLaughlin inside. Ignores him. He's got the lead of Mazzini. Mazzini has it punched away from him, and coming through was Bowden. And the two youngsters, Bowden and Parnell, the young guns, go across the boundary line.
Southern District were more composed tonight in that sort of movement. It didn't pay off from that time, but it has a couple of times tonight.
So boundary throw in. 65 out from goal for Southern Districts. Time now becoming a factor as well. 24 points they lead by. And it's taken out of there by Stevens. Stevens kicks a high one. Don't know if it's gone the distance, but the umpires, it was a big high ball. Umpires paid it. Parnell kicks it back to Long. Long, they're looking across it. And again, as you mentioned, Nick, that's where they're getting caught. And they're taking a bit too long, and Parnell sort of lifting his hands there, not sure where to go. So he just goes a quick one over the top to arm that.
Kicking the ball around like that, that looks like they're leading by 26 points, but they're not. They need to throw the ball forward very quickly.
And that's a shame.
And that's what's been happening.
It's been turned over. Barry, who's in good form in this quarter, he tries to centre it again to Stevens. He'll play on, wheel around, kick to full forward. Couldn't take the mark with Smith, and Smith's at the crumbs. He kicks on goal. And you'd think now the Crocs are through. They head out to a 30-point lead.
Smith was just fantastic there because it was punched forward by Mazzini, and Smith just scooped it up one-handed. Didn't hit the ground. He grabbed it one hand and put it straight on the boot.
That's Luke Smith's second goal as we watch it in replay.
There's Barry again. You called him tonight, and then Stevens. He just turned and went straight away. Mazzini knew he wasn't a chance of marking this. Punched it forward after it popped up. And there's Smith. Didn't hit the ground at all. Bang.
And gets his second one for the night.
He's, as we mentioned, their best and fairest winner a few weeks ago. He's been fantastic for them this year. And again, I think he's top 5 or possibly in that 6th position, the goal-kicking tally. He's kicked a lot of goals like that this year, and he'll be hard for the Tars to stop next week.
30-point lead now to Southern Districts.
Dennis, he gets the ball down. Paredes with the clearance. Maybe the Saints have a final say in this, but they need to keep going from here. 18.5 minutes gone. In the centre corridor, 35 metres out. Tackled to ground by Oborn. We'll have a ball up.
Yeah, this game's going to become a bit of an arm wrestle, and both sides will be playing. If you're the Southern Districts coach, you really want your side to finish this off and clear it out as Jack Lant comes in from the ball up, puts it on the boot. Is this a consolation goal late in the game? I think it is, and Lant gets it.
And we said it in the three-quarter time of the previous game in my other call today, but you don't want to count your chickens before they've hatched, and we think that's what Saints did in the early game. Pints run over the top. I hope I haven't called this too early, but Never want to write the Saints off, particularly in finals.
No, I appreciate that, but to be honest with you, the body language, the urgency, the response then, I'm not sure what the response was like then after Lant kicked that goal, but the difference between the two sides there when a goal is kicked is quite substantial. So whether or not St Mary's have realised that after all of the effort this season, they will bow out in the preliminary final, I'm not sure, but we will know in about 3 or 4 minutes.
And the body language even from Ahmad on the bench there as well.
Not good.
Didn't look good.
There's one out by Grenfell. He hasn't really cleared it out cleanly. He's got teammates there, but it's Southern Districts that will get the clearance and move it forward. It's going to come back to Brock Land, who can't get complete control. Fijo taps it in front of himself. Now he gives a handball off to Staunton. Staunton will put it on the boot looking for Dunstan. Punched away from him. Schwartz is there. Free kick is found. And it'll go to Green. Green, who's just been in control for most of the night up back there. Is that Green?
It is.
Yeah, Green has just been in control for most of the night tonight. And we'll go off to the side and go to Ling. Ling over the top. Well, his kick is spilled, and it's Staunton again who has cleaned up, and the pinpoint pass and a kick downfield. He's found Dunstan.
Jack Mentha for Southern Districts out there grabbing hold of his left leg. He got a knock on a plate. He is jogging it off, but it was a knock that he got as he went into that tackle before.
Yeah, late hit on Dean Staunton has ended up in the hands of Dunstan. So can Dunstan get a haul of 4? That's the big question. He's already got 3. And as we have ticked over into time on, we're at 21 minutes. We'll be at 21 minutes by the time he takes this kick. 87, plays 63. Sam Dunstan. Can he put a sealer through of sorts? And I think he has. He's pretty happy with it.
He's kicking his 4th for the night. 30-point lead now as we go into we're well into time on. And of course, it looks like Southern Districts are going to meet Waratah next week in at the TIO NTFL Grand Final.
That barbecue at Mansfield, nice and warm now, Ashley.
I reckon they'll be cooking up the steaks and drinking the Coronas. Don't worry about that. No, we're back here live at TIO. We're just going to watch the replay again of Dunstan and Sammy Dunstan.
It's been a good second half for him, given the first half where he was monstered by Green, and even we got surprised he got his hands on it in the end, but he's turned into a really important part of their game, and without him, they're only 6 points up, now 30 points up.
As Grenfell versus Dennis, one out by Dennis. Stevens overruns it, then wraps up his opponent, dragged without the football, and Jellyman Turner will take the kick, gets up with a little bit of a limp. As Jellyman Turner looks further upfield, Calder's not leading. So Turner will just send it to whoever, and it's Oborn. Bounces over the back. McAdam's in there to clean up the loose ball. McQueen grabbed without it, but it's McAdam who puts it on the boot looking for Mentha. Mentha got taken without it. Dennis, though, playing the rover again. Beats 1, can't beat 2. Cruiserberger comes through. His kick's disrupted. Taken high was Lant, let go. No, held without the ball, and Brock Lant will actually take the kick. The youngster, the youngest of the 3. And Brock Lant plays on quickly. Has he got a teammate to look for? And it's Calder who just has a drop on to his chest.
Good lead there from Calder. Looks like he'll play on and go onto his left. Hooks it back a bit too much and just threw for a behind.
He's getting the Bronx cheers out of the Southern District supporters, who will be happy.
Not a good day for St Mary's either. Both their sides going out in preliminary finals, unfortunately for them. Coming in from fullback now. And the District's just working up, looking for the big fella. Dennis can't take the mark. Plenty of goal jumpers around the ball now. And running through is Brock Lant. Doing what his brother usually does, Dylan. Kicking it to the centre corridor. Driscoll gets his hands on though, kicks it wide to the pocket. Now to be Stevens. In fact, it is Dylan Lant now as well, getting in onto it. Kept the ball alive, still hungry as ever. Ball spills out finally, eventually. Bowden, he gets a handball only as far as Paredes. Free kick gone for an incorrect disposal. And it will go the way of the Saints. They centre it to Jack Lance.
Well, unselfish there from Xavier Bellagio. He quickly wanted to get it to a teammate. You know, to make a grand final in the NTFL competition, it's pretty much a rite of passage as Jack Lant comes in to just give them another consolation goal, and St Mary's end up with 10 goals 10 at this stage. We're at the 24-minute mark here in the final term, but it's Southern Districts 14-9-93 to 10 goals 10-70. What I was saying was that it's almost a rite of passage. If you want to get through to a grand final in the NTFL, then you've got to beat St Mary's somewhere at some point to do it.
Absolutely. As you said earlier on this afternoon, the Women's Premier League, Pike took the lead for the first time at the 14th minute mark of the final quarter to defeat St Mary's by 6 points. They will meet Waratah in next week's grand final. In the Premier League reserves, Waratah came from behind also to beat the Tigers by 3 points. They will meet Banks in the grand final. And in Div 1 Premier League, Jabiru defeated Banks by 21 points. So Jabiru and Tracy Village at the Div 1 grand final. As we come back live.
And it's McQueen who gets a little kick out clearance there to the far side wing. All players overrun it. Umpire calls play on. Now with Shannon, he gets a handball out. Dean Staunton, the captain, he's been one of the best on tonight. Gets it to McQueen again, who, speaking of tomorrow night and some of the awards we've got this year, McQueen would be a sneaky chance for District's top bowler, I think. It's flown under the radar a bit. Here's Dill Barry. Rolls round, snaps towards goal. Be marked there by Jellyman Turner.
Had a good game tonight, Jellyman Turner. He's just missing a few mates.
Yeah, they haven't had a lot of depth tonight at the St Mary's. Yaron has ran away from his opponent in McAdam. He's had 2 bounces so far, then handballs back inside. Steps around Smithson, steps around his, but he gets caught. Now he's got to get rid of it. Hurried handball and kick there. Now it comes up looking for Oborn, but it's Galbraith who will come all the way back. Steps, tries to keep it in, and he does successfully. Dummies one way, then steps back in. Driscoll goes over the top. McAdam putting Yaron under pressure, and Yaron just guides it over the boundary line because he's as enough. The siren sounds. The Crocs are through to the grand final and will meet Waratahs next week.
Yeah, Southern Districts 14 goals 9-93. St Mary's 10-10-70, a 23-point win to Southern Districts. And as you said, they will meet Waratah in the grand final next week. Ash, your best on grounds?
I think you can't go past Dean Staunton, the captain of Southern Districts. He had a cracking game. Jake McQueen, Kane Stevens, they all contributed tonight. Jack Menter was another good one. And then in the second half, I'll tell you what, I'll give Sammy Dunstan a bit of a rap as well. I mean, he came up with 4 goals. He was getting some great delivery early. And then, Fraser Driscoll all night made life miserable for Jackson Calder. And then if you look over at the Saints side, Matty Green was another one that really made it difficult for Sam Dunstan for 3.5 quarters. And it wasn't until late in the game that Dunstan was able to get away with it. And then Matty Dennis, it started with him. And then, after that it falls away. Dylan Lamb had his usual game and where he was contributing the entire time. But he just didn't have enough help from his teammates.
Absolutely. And goal scorers tonight?
Yeah, led by Big Sam Dunstan for Southern Districts. He hit 4-2 in the third and 2 in the fourth. They also had 2 each to Luke Smith and Dylan Barry. Both those kicks sort of sealing goals late in the piece as well. And singles went to Sexton, Dennis, McQueen, Stevens, Bousted and Mentha. For the Saints, it was Dylan Lant, who I think ended the night on 3. Jack Lant also had 2, so 5 between the brothers there. And singles went to the captain Paredes, Kieran Parnell, Nicky Aaron, Jackson Calder and Xavier Vallejo.
And final thoughts, guys, on tonight. Ash, what do you think of the Southern District's chances next week against the Tars?
Well, I said it at the start of the game. St Mary's and Southern Districts had one thing in common, and that is that they were both dissected by Waratahs. And I think Southern Districts, we saw tonight the team and the style of football that we know they can play.
Yep.
So that makes next week's grand final for me an absolute, might be the best one we've seen in a number of years, because you've got 2 good midfields that are going to go at each other. So my reflection tonight is that Districts bounced back from where we saw them last week. I still think the road ahead for them is against Waratahs. They're going to be tough to beat.
And your thoughts, Will, on next week?
I'm all about the energy in tonight. I think that's where it was when it was lost. St Mary's didn't really have the energy all night. When players kicked goals, they weren't really getting around them. Meanwhile, Southern Districts, they played with vibrancy and they got around each other. If they can do that next week, it's anyone's game. And I think there's also the question of the mental game, which will rest on Waratah's head until they lift up that cup, whether it's next week or another 20 years down the track.
Longest drought in NT football in terms of a premiership, Waratahs.
Absolutely. Southern Districts led by 12 points at quarter time, 16 points at half time, 10 points at 3/4 time, went away by 23 points in the end. 14 goals 9-93, 10-10-70. Thanks for joining us tonight for finals action for the 22-23 TIO NTFL Men's Premier League. Next week, the TFL's NTIO Grand Final, Waratah versus Southern Districts. It's been a pleasure to host you this evening. My name is Nick Danks. I was joined by Ashley Manakaris and Will Zar. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week for the Grand Final.